Alrighty, good morning. Sorry, gosh, I didn't realize how far behind I was running. I was trying to catch up on the video I was watching. I'm here. We're here. We did it, girls. Happy Friday. Happy to have you here. Lots to go over, but all good stuff. Let me see. Let me set up our tech here. Gonna set up our tech. Gonna set up our tech. Dobar. Okay, hope you guys are all doing well. Let me see. So, let me make sure I got all my TikToks set up correctly. First things first, welcome to all the members. Welcome to everyone who's just recently found me. I appreciate you being here. Chess says Brittany's birthday's coming up, right? Maybe we should do something. We will be doing something. My birthday's on a Thursday. It's May 14th. And I actually reached out to one of my fellow YouTube friends who knows a little bit more about astrology than I do. She's not an astrology girl, she's not an astrology YouTuber, but she does know more about astrology than I do. And we're going to go over my birth chart. And that will be for the end of the stream. For the beginning of the stream, I'll just have a normal stream. But she's going to come on for the last hour of the stream on my birthday, and we'll have a conversation for all those astrology girlies that have been wanting to know my rising moon and not my setting sun and my vacation. I don't know what any of this means, but I'm excited and it'll be fun. Okay. She's actually gone over it with me in private before. We've had girl conversations about it, but I just don't know what any of it means, but I'm excited, and I'm excited to learn what it means. And I would like to know more about it. So we're going to do that for my birthday. It's going to be fun, I'm sure. Chess said Western or Verdict. I don't even know what that means. That great question. I don't know what that means. So again, we're just going to have fun with it. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I clicked in birth chart, put in my birth information. The chart popped out. That's what we're going over. I'll have a picture on screen when we actually do it. So those who know more about it can talk about it too. It'll be discussion. Again, she's not the end all be all of astrology knowing. She's just a girly with a hobby, Okay, with that said, yesterday and the day before, wait, Chat said, out of curiosity, do you know your Myers-Briggs? So I always, wait. Oh my God, I just zoned out. I was always an ENTJ, and then we recently did it a couple years ago, or a year ago. I did a panel with a bunch of friends, and we retook our tests, and I came out a ETNT. I think it changed from ENTJ to INTJ. I think that was the only change, something like that. But it changed. It's always usually been ENTJ, and then it changed to, I guess, which is not that, or more, something changed. I don't remember which one. Now I'm forgetting, honestly. Wow. Right? No, not ENFP. I never get the F. Anytime I take Myers-Briggs, I never get F. I always get ENTJ or INT. I got the last one. I'd have to go back and look at it. But yeah, usually I feel pretty I like those kind of categorization tests. I think they're fun. And I really enjoy the categorization. I've been doing it. Actually, the first person who ever introduced me to that was actually a BDSMer in the BDSM community. They had the book, and we'd all take the test for funsies. I think it's fun. I know some people take it way religiously, seriously, but I just think it's fun. And I also think none of us are unique enough not to be categorized. So I don't actually think it's that deep to say that oh yeah, that matches me really well. I feel yeah, that makes sense. So I actually really like it. You know what I mean? I think it's fun. Oh my God. Oh, my sneezing. Oh no. Ow. That really hurt my face. That really hurt me. That's how I feel about astrology too. Sometimes I see Taurus stuff, and I'm like, that's me. But I have a friend who's a Gemini, and I just feel like that is not her. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see, and I'm like, this just doesn't even match you. Are you a Gemini? That doesn't even make sense, But then I meet my Pisces girlies, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a Pisces, all right. Early Pisces, late Pisces. Oh yeah. Sometimes, you know what I mean? That's it. That's all I really know. Geminis, Pisces, Taurus. Um, some of them I don't really understand yet, but I will. I don't like, obviously astrology is not a special interest of mine, but when it does come up on my TikTok, I do watch. I do watch, you know? But yeah, just when thinking about the people in my life, for sure. I like it. I remember the Myers-Briggs, when I was, my siblings and I at one point were all living in the same area as adults, and I made everybody take the Myers-Briggs test, and all of us were laughing because we're like, that's so you, bro. That's so you. And it's just kind of fun. That's why I say, like, who are you in the story? You know, are you a Vegeta? Are you a Naruto? Are you like Sasuke? Are you like, who are you? You know, and that's when you got to figure out, are you a Toph? Are you Katara? You know, who are you in the story? Are you Hamlet? You know what I'm saying? You got to figure it out. Okay, now, let's lock in, because we might be here for a while, and I'm not trying to be here for too long, because I've been trying to get my streams down to at least 3 hours, which has not been successful because I like talking to you. Okay, here we go. So the last couple days, we've been talking about community and YouTubers and efforts, and we're all doing different things differently, which I think is important. I also think we're all just like human, and we've all got problems, but the problems are different, and those problems show up in our work, and that's, you know, that's life. I also think there's like, has to be a level of really good faith and trust in order to have really transparent conversations. So I made a stream yesterday, which you guys had requested that I watch Taylor Lorenz's video on the 62 million. You know, I'm very passionate about like people first processes. I believe people first and policy should follow people. And I think I struggle deeply with how casual people are about making policy about people they know nothing about. And that's so frustrating to me. And so Taylor and Kat had made this video on the 62 million, which, you know, I was not a fan of. I did not like the video. It made me unsubscribe again. But I have resubscribed since last night as a gesture of good faith, because Taylor left a comment on my video. It's a long comment. I mean, it's truly a long comment. She seemed to have watched the video, which is, you know, more than I ever expect of anybody. Keep in mind, I never would ever dream to be entitled and assume that anybody would watch my content. Not you, not Taylor, not anybody. So when YouTubers do, when they somehow show up in my comment section, just know that I will always take this as a gesture of good faith. Unless they are Mark and Cinco, who I don't know what is your problem, home skillet, but you cannot leave a comment to save your life that seems genuine. Are you a troll? I swear Mark is trolling my comment section. I have not directly responded to him because every comment feels like a troll. So except for him, I will be good faith and respond to all the YouTubers in my chat. I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm trying to be very diligent and just like use discernment about replying to YouTubers. And I don't know why he's commenting in my chat, but not to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Taylor is responding directly to me. FD Signifier responded directly to me. Michael responded directly to me. Mark came into my chat and he was like memeing and trolling. And I was like, are you 12? And I don't know how old he is. Maybe he is actually like 19, you know? So he commented again. He's like responding to people in my chat, but he's not engaging with what I'm saying. So it's weird. I don't know what's up with him. So I am not going to engage with that gentleman. Wish him the best. But that feels very unsafe to me. Versus Taylor, who watched the video and said, hey, I am so sad because I didn't see the video you did on the 62 million men stuff until after Kat and I recorded our episode. But I thought you brought up such important points. For people who might not follow me, I'm a technology reporter, and I've been covering Layla Mickelwaite and the whole morality in media / anti-porn movement since Fascia Sesta. So I was coming at the story very much from a tech policy perspective. When I saw a lot of feminist media surrounding the piece talking about abolishing Section 230, which would be devastating for victims of abuse, but I realize now I'm very much in a tech world bubble and I need to be more aware of that. As a tech reporter, As a tech reporter coming at this from a tech policy standpoint, I can 100% see how someone would feel frustrated that we were so focused on one aspect of the story at the expense of centering victims, and how it's many more than 62 million men committing abuse. I think it's so important to call that out and recenter the fundamental truth about the victimization of women. I've spoken to many victims of abuse and reported extensively on gender-based violence, as has Kat. So I promise that we both have an enormous empathy for what these women have experienced. I'm sorry that we failed in communicating that in this video. The points you raise about how we were speaking about porn are also very valid. You're right that not all porn is ethical, and there is a ton of abuse content online. All of these issues surrounding misogyny are connected. I think you're right to call out that the video could have used a lot more nuance around that. I really appreciate you covering my work, and I'm so glad I discovered your videos. I've already learned so much from them, and I appreciate your perspective and analysis. I do want the victimization of women to be taken more seriously, and for capitalism and all systems of exploitation and abuse to be dismantled. I will incorporate all of this feedback, and I will try to do better. I'm especially grateful that someone like yourself, who has done more work and coverage in this specific space, calling these issues out. Thanks again for taking the time to provide this thoughtful critique, and I apologize to any victims, especially for the ways my coverage fell short. Have a great rest of your week. And also apologize for the essay in the comments. I didn't know how to respond and didn't want to make a TikTok because I was worried it would be reframed as internet drama. It's very much not. I responded back and I said, I really appreciate your vulnerability here. And it really does mean so much that you wrote such a good faith comment. I am passionate about people first efforts, and I can see that you're also passionate about your work. I definitely think there's an overlap between our bubbles, and I think this comment you left shows that. I hope that means our communities can move forward together towards a better world. Like I said in the stream, I have no doubt that you're genuine. I'm glad to see that I wasn't wrong and that you were willing to hear me out. I'll be resubbing in hopes to follow your work and your continued growth towards protecting vulnerable communities through the tech bubble. Thanks again for hearing me out. And then even one of my members replied to and got put out a really good message here too. So, okay. This is all I want. This is all I ever want. I'm happy with that. I'm deeply moved by it. Like I said in my original assessment of Taylor, I think she is being genuine. I think she has no malicious intent, and the road to hell is paved in good intentions. So I'm happy with it. I'm not going to fight this. I'm not going to be cynical. I'm going to take it in a high trust, good faith way and believe her. And we're going to move forward. Okay? We're going to move forward. And that's it. That's all we've ever needed from communities. That's all we've ever needed from YouTubers. That's all we're ever asking, is that you think about it and we can move on. So love this. Appreciate this. Happy to resubscribe. Of course, I can always unsubscribe later. But that's all we've ever wanted. And it's just nice to see. Okay? It is nice to see. And I think that it should be the example we use, along with FD Signifier saying, oh, hey, let me check that out. Let me research that. Or, even Michael Burns making like a, damn, you really came for me in this video. Like, haha comment. Like, yeah, like I think we're all people who are genuinely here, and it's gonna hurt our feelings or our pride a little bit to be like, fuck, we dropped the ball. And also, this is what, for me at least, being accountable and like seeking redemption can look like. And like, let's see how you handle it going forward, of course. Even FD Signifier made a recent stream about Cheyenne, which we covered Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, about the possibilities of her being maybe a grifter. And he made a video and even called himself out in saying that people often think that I don't stand up for Black women enough. And he said, I also can have a tendency to be way too empathetic from the male perspective. And so like, that's language is what I'm listening for. That language is what I'm listening for anybody that I not only associate with, especially, but also just like for myself. And when we're judging character, that's what we're listening for. We're listening for people who are like, yeah, like that might be a blind spot for me. And that's really beautiful. So, this week has just been a testament to the people who I think are making efforts, exist, and they are here. I will say I have a feeling we might be also a little bit older. That's why I don't know how old Mark is, but Mark's comments were just so silly that I was like, oh, baby, how old are you? He's 30. No. How old is he? 2000? Oh, is he 25? Is he a baby? I don't know. Google's giving me weird answers. But if he is, that makes a lot of sense, because I think the rest of us are all between our 30s and 40s, you know? So I think that's maybe why he, I don't know, right? But he seems young. And so again, like, I'm not gonna, it is what it is. I think, I don't know. Google just gave me a random birthday. I don't know if that's his real birthday. But, you know, FD, Michael, me, you know, Taylor, we're older. So I think the reason we responded this way is probably because of that as well. And also, it's not just the age, it's the work we're putting in. It's the seriousness in which we are passionate about our work. I think that's a big part of this that's so important. And it's also like, because I'm in training right now to be the adult in the room. It is one of those things where it does require a level of humility from the elders in our community to say that we could be wrong, that I think a lot of us didn't even get to see from our parents. Like, remember, all of this goes back to our childhoods, the way we were raised, the adults in our community. You know, how many times have we tried to have serious conversations with the elders in our community and they just, you know, they can't handle it. And so I just love to see it. It's really, really like, I am very moved by it. Like, I am deeply optimistic and very, like, it's very moving to me. Like, I could get emotional about it if I wanted to, you know, but I appreciate it. And yeah, I just want this to be the sign that there's always a road forward. You can be held accountable and do better. Being held accountable doesn't have to be the end of your life or world or, you know, job or whatever. And that there is a path forward. You know, people are so afraid of saying I was wrong. But the truth is like, if you can say I am wrong, then I can say I forgive you. And we can move forward. But until you can say I am wrong and mean it, I can't forgive you. And then what are we going to do there? Okay. Now, to kind of give us an example of somebody who was struggling in this aspect, but also like we're waiting for it to happen. I think a lot of people have been very good faith with her recently. Breonna Taylor Gray interviewed Natalie last night, and my Discord and I were watching it on our own, but chatting to each other. And first of all, Breonna did amazing. Natalie is just in her nihilistic black pill stage, but I'm really hoping that a lot of these good faith people, I don't know why she's doing the rounds again, but I hope she too can get there so we can all move the fuck on. Like, move the fuck on, Natalie. But she's so stuck. And I just want you to watch this exchange between the two of them as an example.
Elected, and then we criticize. It's that when you're not even you don't even want to get her elected, then it's
because
it's
I have so
that's
much
where
less...
I see the criticism as being this like critiquing power thing.
Okay,
because it's like you don't.
Yeah.
You're
so
not.
Let's talk about power. Let's talk about leverage.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I have more leverage against Kamala Harris before she's elected or once she's president for 4 years?
Well, in this, I mean, I see what you're saying, like as like a protest voter threat, but I don't know. Do the Democrats take that threat seriously, or is it like is it tendency to instead? Because I feel like this
is where I keep getting back to.
I feel like a lot of Democrats feel that the protest voters are sort of unwinnable, are sort of like never happy, right? Whereas there are like centrist median voters that are more winnable, right? And that's, I think,
how has that been panning out?
And it tends to be the reaction to losing an election.
And right? How is that panning out? Who are these centrist voters? So this is you're completely right. This is the Democrats' belief. They believe that if they take Liz Cheney, the daughter of the architect of the Iraq War, to Dearborn, Michigan, America's largest Muslim population, and parade her around on the stage.
Not just Muslim population, a Syrian population. Most of my family's in Michigan, and they're from Iraq and they're Christian. So it's not even just Muslims. It's also just people from West Asia. It's also just West Asians in general of all religious backgrounds, all of which have had people die from the U.S. government's place in Iraq or around the region, right?
That they are going to find some voter, some Midwestern war-loving voter who is so in love with Liz Cheney, a woman who lost her seat because she wouldn't subscribe to Trumpism, and that's somehow going to gin up votes for her, right? Like you're completely right. The Democrat, but this is where I would disagree with you. This is where I would just modify that a little bit. I don't think that the Democratic Party necessarily believes that there are more voters to be gotten in this like weird, socially liberal, economically conservative middle ground of people that I don't think really, exist in any big numbers. But I do think that they are fundamentally unwilling to go the economic populist route because their donors won't allow it. And you keep asking me, which is a really good question, which is why does it seem to be so much easier for Republicans? And I think I would answer that in two ways. One, because Donald Trump is in fact throwing meat to his base. He's saying we're going to go after immigrants. They're the wrong kind of people. He's saying I'm going to be an anti-war candidate. It's a lie, but he's saying all of that stuff. And that's what his base wants to hear. I cannot fathom what the Kamala Harris or Joe Biden equivalent of that was. What did Kamala Harris run on?
I mean, a lot of the messaging was very pro-democracy. Like,
okay.
I think
so anti-Trump.
I think yes, it was anti-Trump, which I think probably, evidently it did not work. I mean, I think it appeals to someone like me who's concerned, like who's like deeply bothered by Trump and by January 6th.
Well, it appeals to people who are already going to vote Democrat no matter who.
But
so
it doesn't. It's not. No, it's
so
not
it doesn't
a
matter.
table issue. I agree.
Right. So it's fundamentally
and that should probably not be the focus.
It's a waste of it's a waste of everybody's time because the people who that appeals to are gonna vote Democrat no matter what. No matter what. So who do you actually need to get? You need to get me. You need to get the Muslims in Dearborn.
But like, are you
gettable?
gettable?
I mean, me personally, it's like I don't think that it's useful to talk about me because I live in Washington D.C. because I am someone. Right, but I just mean the royal me.
The royal you.
What you needed to get was the millions of voters that voted for Joe Biden in 2020, that declined to vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, and who said the number one reason they did so was the war in Gaza.
Yeah,
that's what you need to get.
Like I feel that the 2028 primary will decide this. Like, but I also think that again, just like looking at the history of Democrats losing elections, like usually when the Democrats lose a presidential election, the next candidate is further to the right and not further to the left.
Yes.
Right. And that after 12 years of Reaganism, you got Bill Clinton.
And why is that?
Why is that? When Gore lost in 2000, you got John Kerry. When Bernie Sanders lost when Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, you got Joe Biden. I mean, why is that? I think it's because the Democrats pivot to attracting centrist voters.
Right. And why do we allow them to do that when it repeatedly causes them to lose?
But it doesn't cause them to lose. Like Bill Clinton.
Did Hillary Clinton win?
No, Hillary Clinton didn't win, but Hillary Clinton was coming after 8 years of Obama.
Exactly. And Bill Clinton won because he was coming after 8 years of Reagan. Right? Yeah. Like a friend of mine said this once. I think it was Pete David. It was someone over at Current Affairs who said this to me once. Maybe it was even Nathan. That the candidate that wins every year, they characterize it as the most Jesus-like candidate. I would characterize it as the most like outsider sort of Messiah-y candidate. It's the person who was able to frame themselves.
Okay, let me just give some commentary. So first, right? Chat says, is it bad that the way Natalie speaks makes me tired? Okay, so I actually think Natalie's tired. I think Natalie is deeply nihilistic, right? And that's why she's been kind of the way she is. And I think until she like liberates her own spirit, I don't know why she's making the rounds right now. That's why I'm wondering, like, why are you doing all these interviews if you're so nihilistic? What good is that? You know what I mean? And so she's always displaying like almost like a pulling of her punches. But even more than that, she's like, I don't know. That's what she seems like. She's like, and so, it's giving like, what a drag, and I get it. And yet, why are you here? And then I wonder that, like, so then I wonder if she's trying to figure it out personally. So I wonder if Natalie is going through like an existential crisis of where do I belong? Because on one side, everyone's like, do something. On the other side, everyone's like, leave. And then she must have some personal reason for being here. And that's what I would like to see sort of displayed in these conversations is like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, no one's asking her, like, what are you doing here? Because in one side of her mouth, she's like, I don't do politics. And on the other side of her mouth, she's like, I've been very involved. And also on the other side of the mouth, she's like, where's the revolution? And on the other side, she's like, but I'm not going to do anything. So then Chet says maybe she's trying to find herself through it, which is so fair. I think a lot of us are trying to find ourselves through our work. I just think a lot of us have found ourselves and we know what we're doing here. It feels weird that Natalie wouldn't know, but I also want to remind everybody that Natalie truly did, I think, rise to fame before she was ever ready. And I do think that is from her own testament, from the testament of the people who are around, it was really hard on her, right? It was really hard on her. And I'm surprised that after all of these years, she didn't figure it out. And that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I think we're all waiting for. But I think like Brianna did a really great job interviewing, and like they did get a little like talking over each other for parts of it, but it was good. And I'm glad I watched it, and I'm glad that it exists. So I want to recommend it just like for Brianna alone. If you guys want to subscribe to Bad Faith, it's really good. So first I'm going to share this. Okay. I'll share the video. And then I want to say that I want us to always remember that many of us, politically, activism work, so on and so forth, we are finding ourselves through our work. It's not like, oh, I'm going to find myself and then I'm going to do the work. The reality is you do work to find yourself. And then that's when you kind of, figure it out. Right. And so that's what I want people to remember, is there is a part of all of us always, like my work is always reflecting where I am in my life. Like my work is so transparently, it's so obvious where I am in my life. Right. And so there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something to keep in mind as we view people and we see them, and remember that, remember that that's like, we really are just people in process. Right. Jess says, when is anyone ready to rise to fame? It happens so quickly and suddenly. Yeah. Well, some people pursue it. I want people to understand there are people who strategically aim for it. Hassan is one of them. He has said time and time again, he is trying to be famous, right? He wants the most people to see his message. So you must understand that a lot of people make a concerted effort to actually be famous. And a lot of us accidentally get famous, or some people just accidentally get famous. But there are people, Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, like there are people who strategically sit in a room and brainstorm with their people how to go viral. A lot of the men do this because it ties to capitalism. They have clip farms, they pay people. They literally that's the point. So, you have to understand that that's the major separation, I think, in some of this. And I've heard from some people, a lot of commentary channels, as an example, will go to sleep and wake up the next day and be like super famous and like, fuck. And it's very overwhelming. Like I'd probably have an anxiety attack. If I went to sleep and then woke up the next day, like actually, you know what's crazy? What's that girl's name? Duthie allegedly gained 30,000 subscribers basically overnight. Genuinely, I would have anxiety. Because the expectation, I've never had that happen. Not really. Maybe a couple times. But it's if it happened the way that it did, it can feel very overwhelming. You know what I mean? But even 30,000 is nothing compared to some people who wake up and have 300,000. Like imagine in a week, you go up 1 million subscribers. Some people have very interesting trajectories. That's why I say I love a slow and steady race. It gets you ready for it, But I would just say that everyone's here for different reasons. And that's the point. Like everyone is here for different reasons, and you might not be ready for it. That's why I always say to the universe, my prayer to the universe every day is don't make me famous. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I know that about myself. I think some people would think that was crazy, but I think that I know where I'm at, and I just know that I wouldn't want that position. And that's, I think that's a part of my philosophical journey. And I'm very transparent with that. Otherwise, my life would be very different if I was trying to get famous. I know exactly what I would do if I think about when I am ready to build a large brand, my work will look different. But I'm not ready. I'm not interested. I'm still studying. I'm in my research era. I plan to be here for another 3 to 5 years of just working towards, I actually think the version of me that will handle being popular will be 45, 50-year-old Britney. You know what I mean? The actual adult in the room. like she'll be more ready. And that's why when, people talk about like, oh, women aging out of industries or getting old as a woman sucks. Habibi, when I get older, you know what I mean? She's driving this ship. You know what I'm saying? Like she'll know what's up. So I will with purpose attempt in a lot of ways to like build this a little faster when I'm ready, but I'm not ready yet. Right? Just like, what if you accidentally get famous? Well, it is what it is, right? Like I'll roll with the punches. I'll get a therapist who understands YouTube. I'll have to roll with the punches, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think my work at the stage that it's in will slowly grow, and I doubt that will happen. But if it does, I obviously meditate on it. I prepare for it. My partner and I are aware of it. We think about it every day. It could happen, but just as what does being famous mean to you? Being at the stage of popularity in which it now feels like I am in some way responsible for more than just myself and my direct community here. I am now responsible for anybody who might watch me. I'm now responsible for any community I might impact. I'm now responsible for how I show up and how I process information. Maybe I'm a little bit further to reach as well. Like maybe I am forced to connect less with my community in a direct way, right? Like I'm on my Discord a lot. I'm constantly sharing memes. But imagine at one point, like imagine I blew up, and imagine like 1,500 people overnight joined the Discord. Now imagine everybody's tagging me, like Brittany, and I'm like, versus now, if 4 or 5 of you are like, hey Britt, and then you tag me in something, you're like, can you check this out? I can do that. But imagine if overnight I get popular and I've got 1,000 people tagging me for attention. Like, you know what I mean? At some point, the only time I'll be able to really interact directly with my community is on those Saturday night events that I hold, which is the point of the work that I do, is to aim for a realization it could happen. I mean, it might happen, right? Like it might happen where overnight 500 new people join the Discord. That means like that will change the way the Discord runs. Because right now the Discord's like, I think 150 people or something, 160 or whatever it is. It's like a really small niche community, and most people aren't even talking, right? We have the same main characters in the Discord for sure, like the same like regular community members. I should say community members, not main characters, but community members. And that's really great and wonderful. But imagine now if like 500 people, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to figure out and like prepare for. So that's why I don't want it to happen now, because honestly, I like how things are running right now. And in some ways, like the worst part about becoming more famous or popular is you almost have to let go of that thing. Like we have a really great group of people who show up to all the events. We have discussion events. We've really we enjoy each other's personalities and memes, and we get along so well. And that will be disrupted. Like, so I'll have to say goodbye in the same way that I do every year. Like the Discord has changed over the years a lot, and I will continue to always have to say goodbye. You know how I talked yesterday about I'm always here, but you kind of go away? I have to say goodbye to a lot of people every few years. Every few years, the Discord changes, new faces come about, people, you know what I mean? It's like I'm the old lady who lives in a neighborhood that watched it change over 30 years. That's me. Chad says, could you make another tier for smaller community maybe? But then you'd have to charge people more, right? So then it becomes like an elitist kind of like, oh, if you pay me more, you can talk to me more. You know what I mean? And then at that point, it's like, I don't want to do that. $10 a month is crazy. I'm already charging $10 a month. I know some Discords that are $50 a month. For really popular YouTubers, they charge $50 a month. So I'm not going to do that. Like I'm not about to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that person. It just feels really, you know what? I don't care about that. Chad, do you feel like a look in that regard of never being truly popular or famous? Like the comedian or speaker Alok. Alok has a really interesting career where they are on TV. They are full-time in their career. They are very successful, but their TikTok, their content doesn't have like, they're not Hassan. And I like their career. To be honest, I would love their career. Like I would love, maybe not the going to shows thing because I don't want to leave my house, but I really like their career where it's like really solidified. They're getting the right proper social credit, but they don't have to deal with like, I don't want groupies. Like Hassan's career is groupie career. I don't want groupies. So I think that's what I'm trying to avoid is like, I would love to go see Alok because I would love to see them speak. I don't need to see Hassan because like, I don't want to deal with the groupies. You know what I mean? I don't want to, they're just like, I'm trying very hard to think about what I want. I want to have a community that when they show up, they're very chill. Like, I'm not going to have problems. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to have weird people be weird. Like, I would hate to have an event in which people showed up thinking maybe something could happen. You know what I mean? I don't want that to be the energy. I want the energy to be, I can't wait to have a discussion with like-minded people and we can have like a fun time together. I don't want the charge in the room to be like, ooh, am I going to fuck tonight? That's not the energy I want from an audience. And so, that takes time to build, right? It takes time to do these things, Chad said, who charges $50 for a Discord access? Well, not to name names, but it's not that abnormal, guys. Like it sounds abnormal. It's not because streamers can charge $80. Like it's very common. Like I know it sounds crazy. It's actually very common because think about it. Think about if you're a very famous person and or have millions of people who want access to you, there are going to be wealthy 50-year-old people who have a house with no debt who want to pay to talk to you. They're not trying to charge 19-year-olds $50. They're aiming for people that are older who have the money, right? It's very common. It's a very common practice. It's just how people do things. And it's supposed to be for people who can pay, obviously. So yeah, it's very normal. Chet said a month. Yeah, a month. Because they're also paying. Patreon Patreon exists to support the art. So that's why wealthy donors support artists. That's how you think about it that way. What they see you as is like a sponsor. Like basically you're sponsoring my work. Like you guys are basically sponsoring my work, right? So I don't have a problem with this. When I did calls with people would pay $250 a month and not even talk to me because they just wanted to support the work because they had the money. I mean, I don't know how to tell you guys this. There are very rich people that want to give you money and they just want to support your work. And I took away that tier. Like I had that tier and I just like took it away because I was like, well, you can just sign up for the $10 one. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is the art part of it. I think because that's the dilemma with like crowdfunding is like yes, we have the tiers for people that aren't those people. And then we have the tiers for the people that are. And the people that are wake up every day and wonder, how can I donate? I have friends in the arts who rely on one donor to give millions of dollars. One donor to give millions of dollars. There are YouTubers who get funded $50K a year by one single donor. I've seen them. I've seen the interviews. I've seen people talk about it. One single person. You know what I mean? So, they always blame OnlyFans girls for having these kinds of relationships. Streamers have them too. Streamers have them too. You know what I mean? And again, as long as there's good boundaries, that is how it works. As long as there's good boundaries. The problem is, do these donors eventually expect special treatment? And that's when it gets weird. Because if you expect special treatment, it can get that's where it gets weird. Yeah, legit male streamers have big, crazy donors. Male streamers have some of the largest donors. That's what I'm saying. Like this myth that it's just women getting big donations, boys get huge donations. They get huge donations. Now, obviously a malicious donor might be using it to get special attention. But the reality is a lot of this stuff is built off of recognition, shout outs, good faith, but also you don't even know if these people are going into debt to give it to you. But let's say that there are people who are not going into debt to give it to you. Those people also exist, you know? And so that's the stuff. It's like, yeah, Chet said there's a Do Not Worry viewer who donates 50 subscribers every week or so. Exactly. Like, yeah, sometimes a streamer has just like a person who happens to be that person. That's okay. Like, as long as it's not a way to buy into special relationships with the creator, you know? But it can be. But yeah, Chet says, I think this is a big thing in the art history as well. The relationship between the donor, sponsor, and the artist. Exactly. Well, that's what a lot of leftists have been talking about as well, is like this myth that artists didn't have sponsors back in the day. Like Michelangelo and all these people that we just think of as like these amazing artists, they often had patrons. They had sponsors. They had rich people that paid them to just make art. You know, so this myth of, oh, like, if we paid artists, like, would they make good art? Yeah. Like a lot of the greatest pieces of art that we love, we're able to come to. So that's the idea of Patreon. That's what Patreon was supposed to be. Was supposed to be a place where people loved the work so much they would donate. That's why when I went into making my Patreon and I did calls at, you know, I did it at 70 and then I did it at 250. I had two tiers, the original tier and a bigger tier when I got overwhelmed and there was too many people asking for my attention. I was like, okay, look, like ultimately I also made the decision. So here's the trap I fell into. At one point in my career, I went from being a creative to being a person who did calls. And I was only making content twice a week. And I was like, what happened to my life? I was like, I thought I was a creative first and foremost. What happened? Well, what happened was I got so many people wanting to donate to do calls that I ended up having no time to make content. So I was like, oh, wait. And I wasn't even paying attention to my AdSense. Genuinely, I wasn't even trying to get ads. Then I sat down with my partner and I said, hey, I need you to have faith that I can get rid of my calls and still make us money. Will you support me in this endeavor? Because we're married now, but if I was single, this is what I would like to do. I want to be a creative first and foremost. And I don't want to be a coach and I don't want to be a call person. And that's not what I want to do. That's not why I do this. And my partner said, yes, I believe in you and I support you. And for the first like 2 years that we were here, I started to get rid of all my calls and I started to really figure out how to make enough money on AdSense to replace that income, to then allow myself the ability to live without calls, you know, because I had gotten myself into a trap of like, you know, loving my callers. First of all, my callers were amazing. Just for the record, they were fantastic. And also, that's not what I want to do with my life, you know? And so now I get to stream full time. I get to make content full time and I love my life. Like, don't get me wrong that I loved my callers, but that's not what I ever wanted to do as a business. And it's not what I wanted to do as a creative. And I'm so glad that it worked. Like, I was able to replace that money. I was able to make a full-time living. It was really rough there for a second. It was stressful, but we did it. And that's how I do everything that I do is I replace the income. I go, okay, I want to replace this income with something else. How do I do that before I quit and move to something else? And I'm really lucky that I got to do that. I really am. Yeah, but like, and I'll probably do it again in the future with something else. You know, who knows? Okay, now with that said, I also want to share with you this video. I'm actually like halfway through, but if you go back to the very beginning of it, Mark Lamont just did an interview with Dr. Raquel Martin, who has been blowing the lid off of Cheyenne Bryan's grift. And just listen to this 2-second segment right here.
Biggest concern is more so with the fact that when it comes to mental health and well-being and it comes to access to resources, I always want everyone to have informed consent, right? The way I always describe it to my students is like, if there are 3 options and a doctor only provides you with 2 options and you choose one of the 2, that's not informed consent because you didn't get information on all the options. So whether it is like therapy or whether it is coaching or community support groups or medication, like the most important thing, especially when it comes to, I specialize in Black health and well-being, the Black community, is making sure we're being clear about what that actually is.
The moment I'm drinking my coffee this morning, I hear her say informed consent. And I was like, and we love her. We love her. Just for her to say informed consent, boom, 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 boom. My brain lit up. My whole being lit up. I was like, oh, she's in the bubble. She's in the bubble. She knows the bubble. Versus, remember when we were reviewing Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, I was like, she's not using any of the proper words. You know, where's her word patriarchy? Where's capitalism? Where's the words? And then, you know, and so they talk. I'm going to recommend this as well. Obviously, that's why I have it up. So I'm only halfway through. I haven't finished watching it, but I wanted to show you that because one, I think it was cool of Marc Lamont to interview her. She's very prominent on TikTok. She has almost 1 million followers. So she definitely has her own lane that she's very successful in. But he, well being friends with Dr. Cheyenne, was able to have this very difficult conversation. So far, I'm halfway through, like I said. So I just heard that and I went, love this. Absolutely want to support this. So shout out to Dr. Raquel. We love her. She's very educated, very much knows what she's talking about, very much has her credentials, very much has her license, very much, you know, she really is proving she's not a Cheyenne. Okay. So please watch that. It's really good. Second or third video I want to show you is I'm about half to 60% through this one as well. But going back to the very beginning of this one, I've been watching his content for a while now, but he's been MIA for a while and he just got back. And then check out this opening to his videos. Actually, I call him Turb, but I don't even know what his name is because you know how I feel about learning people's names. I'm bad at it. People gotta say their, his channel, you know his channel name. See, this is his second channel. Okay, look at it.
I've been off for a while.
I have a dream.
Just because I've been doing real life leftist stuff.
Know your oppressor or the British Crown Company. Yeah! Your community.
I don't know if y'all know, but I actually do try to do coalition building in real life. And there's this community kind of grassroots organization called 7gen, styled after the Black Panthers. You know what I mean? With food kitchens that delivers 300 meals every Sunday. They have a gardening initiative. So they're bringing like the whole community into this, right? By utilizing the free space they have to make food for the relatives. And I don't know if y'all know this, but you can actually make 200 pounds of food off of 1/4 of an acre. And we have around 30 different people signed up to this. So we have a lot of acres of land, right? That should last us all the way through the winter. And that should feed our unhoused population through that too. And that's what I've been doing in real life, right? 7gen. Starting those initiatives, marketing them, doing all that good stuff. So I'm a little sorry for stalling because like, I love YouTube commentary, right? I love coming on here. I love talking to y'all. In fact, like y'all actually helped me make 7gen, right? Without this platform, I would not have the funds to start 7gen, right? Y'all fundraised around 30K for me. Like y'all fundraised 30K for me, fam. And then I was able to assemble these food kitchens and these ideas because I had the material means to do it, right? So I'm never gonna be hating on y'all, the audience of YouTube, because I feel like when we talk about the commentary problem, like even leading into the topic of this video, when we talk about the commentary problem, we kind of look at leftism and its praxis in a very boxed lens, the same way we look at voting, right? Like the Liberal Party, the right party, right? The way we look at someone like Clavicular versus someone like Hassan, right? Two very different sides of a spectrum, but they're created entities for a reason, right? Clavicular is clavicular because of a concerted effort of eugenics policies in these circles of MGTOW movements, in these circles of everyday men's circles online, that has translated into a plausible figure, right? That has manifested into clavicular. Clavicular is the logical explanation of online rhetoric surrounding manosphere politics in the modern day, you could say, right? Hassan is that for the Liberal Party, right? And I don't think Hassan's politics end at the same point the Liberal Party does. This new metric of online politics is something to behold, right? Because y'all helped me make an organization like 7gen, styled after the Black Panther parties.
Okay, I want to just point something out here. Energy is everything. Like the vibes of the community is everything. And the reason I really like his work or community efforts more than being a celebrity like Hassan, and I know, it just sounds like we're harping on Hassan, but Hassan is just such a stereotype of a celebrity. And what have we ever learned about celebrity? Hassan is too famous. Well, Deculturation actually said this, so I'll give him the credit for inspiring this thought as well, where he said he does also community efforts in his local community, and he's in a similar area of Hassan, and he's never seen him there. And it's like Hassan will say, oh, I can't show up, otherwise people will go crazy, because you're a celebrity. That's the point. You can't be a community member, you're a celebrity. Versus these men are community members. That's why I don't want to be famous, because I want to be a community member. I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want it to be like, oh, Brittany Simon is only volunteering so she can get an Instagram post off, or Brittany Simon is like here, so like it's detracting from our charity work or our community efforts because she's here. I just want to be nobody. That's why I keep my private life and my online life like totally separate. I know some people don't. I do. Right? When people meet me in real life, I do not tell them I'm a YouTuber. If I ever do anything with anybody, if anyone ever asks me for help and they say, what do you do? I just go, oh, you know what I mean? I just don't. And that's how I try to operate, is like, I don't want it to be like, because, people do, I already know, because I tried in the past to be transparent. And when I do that, people get weird about it. Like they automatically think like, and then they start taking pictures and then they want to tell people. And the problem is like, how am I supposed to stay private? So this is my issue too of being like in my community, is I don't want people to let people know I'm working with them. That's one of the struggles I've always had, because anytime in the past I've worked with communities, it's like they want to take pictures and say, Brittany was at my event. I'm like, so now I can't even have the privacy of being at this event, and I'm not even a celebrity. So I do understand Hassan's thing. The issue is that Hassan is really transparently out there. I'm still kind of like playing the private citizen game. My family's private. My life is private. My partner's private. I'm not really playing the celebrity game where like people are going to say like, who's your parents and who's your life and who's your best friend and who's this. I keep my life very separate. And for good reasons, because I don't want that. Yeah, Hannah Montana. I am kind of like Hannah Montana. I'm a bit like Hannah Montana. Like, yeah, I kind of am. Like, I feel like I'm two different people all the time. I don't feel like these two people are the same. And so I think that's why I do like Turbs and Deculturation and other people who volunteer, and why I think the Hassan way of doing things is a lot harder, because I think the Hassan way of doing things is like, it doesn't allow him to be. And that sucks. You know what I mean? So again, it's a very fine line, but I just wanted to show you Turb's work, and I wanted to, here, let me link his video. Oopsies.
Of what's being presented in front of them.
Oh,
They're not.
That's okay. Let me send you the video so you guys can go watch the whole thing on your own. But yeah, like I think that's really cool to see people doing real things in their communities, and to actually, when we talk about this video is about commentary, by the way, it's about the commentary problem. And I want you to understand that a lot of us who just make content at here, there's also the part of our private life that exists. Like even for some people thinking like, oh, like, you're in Croatia, so you're not engaging in American politics, even though I vote and even though like I am, right? I can't in the same way, I understand. But also there's Croatian politics happening. I'm trying to become a citizen. I'm going to vote, girlies. I'm going to get involved. Okay. Like not only that, but like we've already engaged in local protests for our Croatian problems here, because like I'm going to be a Croatian one day. You know what I mean? Hopefully, fingers crossed, they accept me. So like, we're not gonna, you know what I mean? We're not gonna not be here too. It's just, I want people to remember that we all show up differently for our community. So like, again, also I did another, I've been doing my lessons and I'm feeling very confident I'm going to test it this weekend with my in-laws. We're going to see my mother-in-law for Mother's Day. I'm already so nervous. The next time I have my government appointment, I have to impress them with my Croatian. I'm like, I have to pass the language test. And I'm like, oh, you know. Just that, have you been to any festivals in Croatia? The only time I've been is for music. No, I haven't done anything like that. And also a big part of it too is because I don't have a lot of time to do much, and I don't have a car. Guys, I know this sounds crazy, but we really do live within our means. We do not put anything on a credit card, which means that like there is like no extra money left over. I just had this conversation with my partner. I understand why I was in debt my whole life, because to be honest with you, everything is too damn expensive. And like, when we are not spending anything on a credit card, it literally means that we can't do anything. Anything. Because everything costs money. So you're just like, the patience I have had is crazy. Like even $10, guys, there is no $10. When I was younger, I would have been like, oh, it's $10. Now I'm like, $10. We don't have $10. I know that sounds crazy, but we do put aside fun money. Okay. We do that. It's just usually like $10. You know what I mean? So that alone makes it so it sounds like, oh, Brittany, you've been there for 4 years and you haven't done anything, or 3 years and you haven't done anything in Croatia. Listen, I've had to pay every year. I have to pay hundreds of dollars to maintain visas, to maintain immigration statuses. Like we have to put aside hundreds of dollars just to maintain my stay in this country. And then not only that, but like everything costs money. So like we're good. Okay, we've made our decision, but one day when I have some savings, I will go crazy. Okay, I'm already so excited to buy new clothes eventually. Like even buying, and this is why I've watched Ramit the other day. Ramit, there was this lady who has a net worth of 1.5 million, and she feels bad buying new leggings that are $60. I am afraid of even falling into that trap, to be honest, like transparently, where like I used to love to shop. Like I used to get such a dopamine rush of like, oh my God, I love it. Now I have been postponing buying like $15 things where I'm like, I'm good. I can wait. Now I feel bad buying it. Instead of feeling good about buying it, I don't get the dopamine rush. I just feel guilty. And I'm trying to also not feel that way, because eventually we will have a savings that will allow us to spend like $300 on something without over consuming, but within reason. So what I've been excited about, what I've been saving up for is, instead of buying clothes, which I do want, but I've put that aside, I really want just €200 worth of outdoor furniture so I can sit outside on my balcony. We've lived in a place with a balcony the whole time I've been here, and we have not been able to have outdoor furniture. So I feel like I need that. That is a part of my mental health. We've decided to make that investment, and it's still the right choice, but it means that €200 that could have gone towards maybe 4 dresses are going to go towards 2 chairs and a table, because I was like, we need to live like Assyrians. We need to be outside. So fingers crossed, I find a set that I like, but we're going to go looking for one, and it should be nice. I think that's a better use of our money, because I just think it will be so good for us to invest in that. You know what I mean? And yeah, right? Chad said, girl, look for stuff on the curb. Our balcony chairs were out on the street. With peace and love, Croatia does not play like that. Like, I don't know how. Listen, Croatia is a different beast. It is not like America. It is not like the US. I hear you, but like, Croatia is not playing like that. There is no furniture ever anywhere, and there is nothing ever anywhere. Like, there are, yes, some like Facebook marketplaces and stuff, but it is not like the USA, because people aren't over consuming the same way. You have to imagine, like, okay, when I was in my early 20s and I had no money, I lived near UW in Seattle, and all the college kids whose parents bought them furniture would just throw perfectly decent furniture by the dumpster. And every year I'd get a new bedroom set or a new dresser or a new TV, because all those kids were so rich, they were giving away money. Croatians are not wealthy, rich people throwing away things. It goes to family members. His mother has given me so many pairs of shoes, and if they don't go to me, they go to somebody else in the community. I have 10 pairs of shoes from his mother because she's like, I don't need these anymore. You want them? I'm like, yep. Or, oh, I bought these, but they don't work for me. Do you want them? I'm like, yep. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is such a different experience. Oh, and by the way, we don't even have the same foot, but she's only a half size bigger than me, so it kind of still works. So that's the other part of it. Nobody, another version of Brittany would have been like, I'm just gonna buy shoes that fit me perfectly. Honestly, girls, it still works. You know what I mean? Chess says no thrift stores. No, there are thrift stores. Listen, I'm going to say this with also respect. I'm at the age I am that I'm not buying secondhand unless it's nice. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't want your trash. I want quality investments for everything that I buy. I'm not going to settle for buying something cheaper just because it's cheaper. No more fast fashion to the best of my ability. No more just buying cheap because I want quality items. And I just don't find in my adventure out here that there's a lot of quality items that people are just giving away. Do you know what I mean? I feel like most people are keeping quality items, and or if you're lucky, you'll find one. That's what I'm finding, but I don't know. I have to go looking, but you know, we have to buy a certain furniture set. It has to be heavyweight. It can't fly off the balcony. It has to be like, you know, there has to be a standard. It has to be rainproof. It has to be sunproof. Like, again, like I am not interested at this stage of my life of just spending money to get cheap clothes. I don't have to. I'd rather save up for 2 years and buy something that's nice. So that's the other part that I want people to, that's the other stage of life I'm in too. Same thing with apartments. Like, I would rather have a nice apartment at this stage of my life than be in a black mold apartment like I was in my 20s, you know? But, you know, again, it's also a time thing. I don't have the time to go thrifting, but that's a part of the money is time thing. I don't have the time. I genuinely don't have any extra hours in my day to do anything except work out, and sleep. So one day when we get there, we'll do it. But I will just say, be kind to yourself in the process and learn how these things change where you are in your life. When I was younger, girly, I would work the same amount of hours I'm working now, except I wasn't chronically ill and I was out shopping every day. I was buying things, partying with my friends. I had so much energy. So that's the other thing too. Be compassionate to yourself about where you are and also how life changes. Because I do think a lot of people, a lot of millennials are starting to feel really bad about themselves because they can't keep up. Habibis, we're old. With peace and love, we are literally ancient. Our knees click when we get up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not a young person who can go thrifting for 6 hours a day anymore. I am so chronically ill that the last time we went to the mall, like a year and a half ago, I couldn't even finish our shopping trip because my fibromyalgia was triggered. So what used to be fun for me is now just like a chore. And it's not like I have $1,000 to spend either. If I had $1,000, maybe it'd feel more exciting, but I have like 20 to 50 euro to get everything I need and be chronically ill. So, you know, be kind to yourself through the process. I know this sounds like negative, but I actually mean it to be positive and like compassionate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm complaining. I just want it to be like being aware of it, right? Chessa, do they have Big Lots in Aldi? No. No. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen all of Croatia, but I don't think so. Right? Well, definitely not at Big Lots. And I wouldn't shop at a Big Lots anyways. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not shopping at no Big Lots, you know? That's the thing is like Big Lots is overpriced and cheap things. That's the thing. I'm telling you, after going through this anti-capitalism, fast fashion documentary, like deep dive, so much of what Americans buy feels quality, but it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's just to make you feel like you're buying quality stuff and you're not. And everything you buy ends up in a landfill, right? Everything you buy, every single item of clothing was made by a person. Everything you touch will end up in a landfill. Oh, which by the way, girls, is we're going to talk about overconsumption actually. Hold on. Wait. Okay, we're not there yet, but keep this conversation locked like in your brain for why I want to tell you about overconsumption and why the internet isn't what it seems. Okay? Because like, yeah, chat says once you see it, you truly can't unsee it. Like once you see it, Like, I can't unsee the amount of like the ways they trick you into buying stuff, the way that things, you know what I mean? Okay, anyways, before we get there though, let's have a little bit of a laugh. Okay, a little segue as we get into these next a little bit heavier topics for a second. Oops.
That was great.
Noah, sad.
That was great. That was great, Noah. Thank you.
Noah, good job.
Good job, Noah.
I think it was okay.
Progress has been a little slower than we anticipated.
Chris,
Good. Keep going. Keep going. One more.
Chris, horny. Chris,
Jesus Christ. It's not looking really good out there. I don't know if they're ever going to get it. Go ahead and tell us how you feel, Lucas.
Lucas, happy. That, Noah, sad.
No. But just when we thought that all hope was lost, we had a breakthrough.
Gabe, think, this, feel like superficial commentary on very complicated subject. Post-World War II, veterans brought back their PTSD to their homes. Young boys suffered as a result. This is one wound comedy can't heal. We are people. You are people. Gabe is people.
Good job. That was amazing.
Also, Gabe, horny. Noah.
That is a real story. That is an actual videotape of my life. That is truly real life. That has happened to me so many times in my life where a man is like, I get it. Also, do you want to fuck? And I'm like, absolutely 100% real. Love that. Okay, shout out to them. Very funny. Very funny. Okay. Happy story out of ICE detention centers and then sad story out of ICE detention centers. Ready? Okay. Nice, but kind of like bittersweet story out of ICE detention centers. Ready?
This man finally returned home to his husband after spending 150 days in ICE detention, and he was detained while trying to do everything by the book. Alan Michael Marrero was at a routine appointment while he and his husband sought his green card. They brought all their paperwork and documentation and sat through harsh questioning when suddenly it was revealed they had missed a hearing 3 years ago. They didn't just not attend on purpose. Alan was in rehab at the time, but it didn't matter. That one missed meeting meant that Alan had a removal order and they had no idea. The officer denied their green card request, but said, out of the goodness of my heart, I'll let you leave today. I could have called ICE, but I won't. But as they left, Alan was suddenly restrained and taken by ICE. At the press conference following his release, Alan said he was terrified every night of his detention. He said he was transferred numerous times from New York to Arizona, Texas, and even Florida's Alligator Alcatraz. He said following his release, he still sometimes finds himself just sitting quiet because he's so used to not wanting to upset the guards. In an emotional moment, Alan thanked his husband for not letting him give up on himself. Alan was just one of 30 people who were released due to the help of a New York triage center from Democratic Rep Dan Goldman's office. Goldman also said that they've just introduced a bill to prevent anyone from getting arrested by ICE at an interview or court appearance. Because while Alan has been released, many are still detained for no reason.
Exactly. Okay, hold on. Let me actually show you. Hold on.
A joyous homecoming for a beloved member of this Lower East Side community, Alan Michael Marrero, finally released after 150 days in ICE custody.
I would like to start off by saying thank you to my beautiful, amazing husband, Matthew, for not giving up in all his dedication. Thank you. I love you. I love you too.
The celebration at Middle Church showcased the small army of supporters who fought tirelessly for Alan's freedom.
I'm home because of you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Alan is a man with absolutely no criminal history.
Along with local religious and elected leaders. And his husband, who says the group's fight against ICE continues.
Love has brought him home, but justice still has work to do.
The painful saga began here at 26 Federal Plaza back in November of 2025 when Alan and his husband showed up for a routine green card visit. There they received a shock. An order of removal had been issued for Alan back in 2022 in a piece of mail he missed while he was between addresses. The Department of Homeland Security says the order of removal was because he overstayed a tourist visa nearly a decade prior. But Alan, who is from the Cayman Islands, had already begun a well-documented asylum application before his visa expired.
I was transferred from the federal building in New York City to New Jersey, to Arizona, to Texas, to Florida, Alligator, Alcatraz. I was terrified every night. The transfers that occurred every night took a physical toll. This is where they would chain you by your ankles, connected to your waist, connected to your wrists, for up to 8 hours at a time.
Alan and Matthew are now thrilled to be reunited.
He's the love of my life.
But Alan still adjusting to his freedom.
Sometimes I find myself just sitting quiet because I'm so used to it, not wanting to upset the guards.
And vowing to continue to fight for those still in ICE custody. On the Lower East Side, Tanya Rivero, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
This is why I say I'm an open borders girly. And this is why I say, like, paperwork cannot be the reason you were doing this to people. Like, not filling out paperwork, missing a piece of mail cannot be the reasons you do this to people. And this is why I say people first policy should follow people's real lives. See how there's a policy in place, but it doesn't reflect the reality of people's lived experience. And then you're creating all of these rules. You're destroying all of these families. And for what? Guys, I want you to process the information that I am immigrating, that I am trying to become a part of Croatia, that I also go through immigration meetings in which I want you to know we are incredibly nervous every time. And there's one of the ladies who kind of knows us a bit because we keep getting her. And we don't always get the same people, but she's just like, she really is like such a mom about it because she's like, wow, you guys are so nervous. And I was like, you know, we just have like a lot of anxiety. And I'm in the foreign aisle line with foreigners, and we're all sitting there together. And it's really intimidating. And we're always just hoping that we get somebody who's in a good mood, because that's important. And also somebody who sees that we're genuinely, like, obviously not trying to get anything wrong, but filling out, guys, so much paperwork, and it's so like you just feel like you're doing it wrong, and they make you like make sure it's right, make sure it's perfect, make sure everything is right, and you're just like, and like you're doing it, and we're spending, by the way, hundreds of dollars. We're going through the process, and by the way, this process was easier and cheaper than the US could ever have been. The reason we live in Croatia, the reason we are here, is because the US's process of immigration, the US's process of green card is too fucking scary, too fucking expensive, and too fucking absurd. I want you to process that information, that if I had asked my partner to move to the US, that he could have been put in this position, even if he has more privilege being white and more privilege being other things. It doesn't, like, we sit in this position of just like, it wasn't even worth the risk to think about it. And that should not be America. You should not be so terrified of coming to the US, coming to my place of birth, that like I wouldn't even want to risk the safety of my partner. For the safety of our family, we're immigrating here. Like, we're trying to build a life here. If the US had made it better, we could have had that conversation. But I think that's the part of it that people are missing, is like, I am not terrified of accidentally being here and having this situation happen in Croatia, because that is not the policy here. Like, I am so anxious already in a system that genuinely is like always going to approve my visa because I'm married. You know what I mean? And that again plays back to working within systems, and that 4B forever girl who was like, divorce your husbands if you want to decenter men. Tell that to immigration. Tell that to this gay couple that's fighting immigration and ICE raids. Okay? Like, having a married status, whether you like it or not, is a part of how society decides you have some, which is why she was like, you benefit from patriarchal marriage. I hear you. And I also need you to understand that, like, getting an education, making a lot of money, being white, there's so many parts that are also benefits. I hear you. That doesn't mean I would ask minority people to take away any of those benefits, when the reality is like, we're not in that position to do that. We can't do that. So you know what I mean? Like, there's like this, I don't know how you can say we live in a patriarchy and women are suffering, and also divorce your husband Do you know what I mean? When medical care is a threat to you, or abortion rights are being taken away, or adoption, or like, you know, your children, like, I just don't even understand why you would recommend people do that. Why would you recommend people, unless they do it as a point of protest, right? That's different. But that's the point, is like, you can be in protest and still acknowledge that this couple being married is better. You know what I mean? Even though I think we should eradicate marriage. Okay. And same thing about, well, anything else really is like, okay, now I'm going to show you a really, really devastating story. Okay. So this is also now going around. This is, you might cry. So trigger warning, you might cry. So I'm very happy for this couple. I'm so glad they got to reunite. I'm devastated he spent 150 days in captivity. I'm devastated for everyone who's still there. Here we go.
One wish. An 18-year-old with terminal cancer. He has one wish: to see his parents, who are detained by ICE, before he dies. Kevin Gonzalez was born in Chicago. He's facing terminal stage 4 colon cancer. Doctors told him he has only days to live. His grandmother took him to Durango to be with family in Mexico, and his parents, desperate to be with him, attempted to cross the border into the U.S. and were arrested by immigration on April 14th near Douglas, Arizona. His brother tells us they are holding on to hope.
He have cancer terminal 4, and we bring it for a photo. And when my mother have appointment and the visa, he delayed. Nothing.
Letters from the University of Chicago Hospital request compassion and their release for humanitarian reasons. An immigration attorney warns that the process can be slow and is not guaranteed. For its part, ICE has just informed us that it is trying to gather more information on this case.
People first, policy second. See? You see what policy does when it's made without people's real life being taken into consideration? Why are you arresting people for paperwork? Why aren't you letting people see their kids? Why aren't you understanding we should have a world that, of course, understands the situation and does everything it can to get these parents to see their boy before he dies? What are we doing? You know, what are we doing? Okay. It just really, something so deep inside of me. This is why I am passionate. And this is why I'm like, hey, well, you're busy talking about, you know, oh, well, logically pressing the red button, logically, you know what I mean? There's a fucking real world out here, and we need to do our best to bring families together. Like, paperwork cannot be the issue. These people are arrested and they can't see their son, and all of this is happening. Yeah, chat says they're even taking people to jail for unpaid tickets. Oh, they're taking people to jail for unpaid medical bills. There are states in the US that will make you serve prison time for not paying your medical bills. So be careful where you live, understand where you are. And please, to all the Americans that keep talking about leaving the US because it's so hard, try immigrating to just a different state first, because I promise you, it's not going to be that much easier anywhere else when you go through an immigration process. Even though it feels easier, like, you have to understand, like, there's still the paperwork. You still need funding. You still need a job. You still need to learn language. You still need to have housing. Like, you need to have a sponsor. Like, there's so many things that have to be in place for you to, you know, you can't just, like, everything is hard, but it's possible, but it's hard. And so, like, I warn you, like, to pay attention. And please, before you have a child, if you can, be aware of the child you're bringing into the world and what you're asking that child to face in this world. Like, just think about it. Because I know a lot of people are having children for a lot of reasons, a lot of good reasons, a lot of reasons, but you're asking a child to, like, contend with this reality, and it's very hard, you know? So again, when we center children and we center family and we center community, policy should follow that centering. You know, policy should follow that. But just, like, you know, be good to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, be loving to yourself, and understand, like, This is a struggle, but it's also a construct. We created it. We can reform it. We can dismantle the system. We can form a better system. And I want you to have compassion as the compassion meaning to suffer with. Just for a second, put yourself in these people's shoes. For a second, imagine you're dying of cancer. Imagine your loved one. Imagine a child you brought into the universe, something somebody you bore, somebody you labored for, was brought into existence, is dying preemptively, way in a harsher way than you can imagine, and you can't hold them, see them, love them, kiss them before they go because of paperwork. You know, all right. 2-minute break, and then we'll get into the last 2 stories. Great stories. Very excited to go over it with you. This first story, I'm perplexed. Shooketh. Okay. And then a story about overconsumption, which I think will be important. 2-minute break. Let's do it. 2-minute break. How about I let you listen to Samantha Dragonotti? We haven't done that in a second. And I will promise you that I will try to get this tech correctly. I don't know why. I had it so good before, and then I started fumbling on the tech, but I think I got it. I think I got the tech. Okay. I'll be right back. Samantha Dragon, any links in the description. Pausing music in 1, 2, 3, big pause. All right, girls. So, this story is insane. It's actually bloody crazy, really. Da, 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 da. Okay, so if you have not heard, watch this video with me. Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Ma'am, why is there a dog using a wee-wee pad in a restaurant? What is that?
So this woman is at a Gordon Ramsay restaurant, and in front of her, if you've ever owned a puppy, if you've ever had a doggo, you know what that pad looks like. And there is a wee pad on the floor of the restaurant. Okay? Make it make sense. Crazy. Like, what is even happening? And I promise you, when this came across my feed, I went, okay, no biggie. Gordon's going to be pissed about it. We can move on. Was Leigh Gordon upset about it? Oh, you just wait. Now, before we get to his answer and response, here is Giselle, I think is her name, explaining the situation.
Restaurant in London. I want to tell you guys, never come eat here.
Oh, hold on. Super chat from Rise Again says, if you've ever owned a pet or been to a dungeon, you know what? True.
Gordon Ramsay Pizza Restaurant in London. I want to tell you guys, never come eat here. I'm sitting at this restaurant enjoying a beautiful evening with my husband and my newborn baby, and I look up and I see some woman with her dog on a wee-wee pad taking a piss in a shit. Oof. I tell the patron, the lady who's working, the waitress, whatever, about this. She doesn't do anything about it. The manager was there the entire time. He said nothing. I still paid the bill. But I'm telling you now, do not come to this restaurant. They allow dogs to shit and piss where you are eating. Beyond disgusting for a Gordon Ramsay London restaurant where he's from. It's disgusting.
Absolutely fucking disgusting. Shook. Are you ready for his response? Okay.
Ramsay has uploaded a video in which he is making fun of and mocking the situation that happened at his London restaurant on Friday.
Hey, Gemini, can this dog come to Street Pizza tomorrow night, please, for supper? Bruno? Tilly, what do you think?
Okay, so Gordon, wow, with 40 million followers on TikTok, Gordon posted a video of a dog in a diaper saying, you want to eat at my restaurant, right? And laughing, and then he quickly deleted it. So there it is.
To stitch my TikTok video with a video with a dog laughing about it is beyond appalling.
I can't believe it.
I will never go to another.
I can't believe it. Like, I'm literally shocked that was his response. I watch MasterChef all the time. I watch Gordon all the time. Gordon's mad about everything. Gordon's mad about dust on the table. And also we're not mad about a dog pissing in a kitchen or pissing in a restaurant.
Other Gordon Ramsay restaurant as long as I live. And I will not recommend it to anybody else either. I want to again reiterate that their restaurant states that dogs are only allowed outside. I was sitting with my newborn baby inside the restaurant. So why was I seated next to a dog and a wee-wee pad? I don't want to sit next to a wee-wee pad. I don't want to sit next to a wee-wee pad when I'm having a dinner. And I most definitely don't want to sit next to a wee-wee pad when I'm with my newborn son while having dinner.
Read that it was dog friendly. Dining room, and as
So
much as we
old
like
clip
dogs,
of Gordon.
Don't want a dog in where I'm eating.
I agree. I think that's disgusting.
So Gordon has been infamously on brand for everyone expecting his reaction to be, upsetness and the fact that he isn't is insane. And so, of course, chat goes, do you think race plays into this? Oh, that is exactly what's happening. A lot of people over the years have felt that there is sort of an elitist, race-based exclusion, like attitude, right? Like happening in this sphere. And I think this plays into it where like, it's not saying Gordon is racist. It's saying that Gordon might, like a lot of white people, fail to understand the racist implications of allowing a white couple with a dog to piss in front of and ignore the complaints of a black woman, given the social context. And also, you're basically choosing the dog's comfortability over the humans. And it's like, not that, you know, again, we're plant-based here, we're vegan here. A lot of us are very much not about humans being the center of the universe. But it's to say that, why is there shit and doo-doo and pee-pee happening in front of me while I eat my pasta? You know what I mean? It's like, why are we doing this? Okay. Now, check this out. This just came out 6 days ago. Okay.
Welcome to Bread Street Kitchen at 22 Bishopsgate. But it's not just any Bread Street Kitchen, it's 2.0 because it's celebrating our 100th restaurant opening. Morning, ladies, gentlemen, good morning. This is delicious pea puree, triple fried dishes like that.
Okay, so he does this, Look at the comments. The comments are honestly hilarious. I heard it's kind of shitty inside. After Gordon Ramsay's response, I can never see his restaurants as luxury, clean, sanitary, upscale ever again in my life. The dog park restaurant. My husband has sore legs, so he doesn't want to walk all the way to the toilet. Can you use a puppy pad in the middle of the restaurant? He has a good aim and a steady stream. Are cats with litter boxes allowed too? No, thank you, bro. My wife and I enjoyed our time at your restaurant with our emotional support cat. Brother, the internet is so funny. Can't wait to bring my 2 dogs with me and their potty pads as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you know, I do appreciate the way everyone is backing this woman up and supporting her because I think she deserves it. I think she tried to explain it. She handled it well. I know some people are like, why are you dragging this out? Habibi, it's been a week. Relax. This is insane. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to so many places in my life where dogs are welcomed and it's been perfectly fine, usually outside, and there's been no problem. But the fact that they put down a pad is what's crazy. Why would you put the pad down? Because like usually your dog can also be like trained to think the pad is down. I can go on it. It's a safe space. So you're basically like triggering your dog to go potty. Instead of, oh, my dog has to go potty, let me run outside really fast. You're putting it down so the dog reads this space as I can go potty now. So it's just like a really weird decision to make. Guys, the way I get triggered just seeing this fucking pad, because when Nimbus was a baby, we had to use these pads to train him to go potty. And it was genuinely like, they're so triggering to me because I'm just like, that's all I see is poop and pee. So the fact that they're in this restaurant, the fact that they're like, I am so disturbed by this video. It's incredible. And I say this as somebody who like, I love animals. I think animals exist. You know, we should all exist together. And I am also one of those girlies that gets really disturbed that you let your cats on your counters. Like, people purposely put their dogs and cats on kitchen counters, like with peace and love. This is why you can't eat at people's houses. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, people, like, I don't understand how you guys so casually let animals who step outside, who step in their own litter boxes, who step in where they poop and pee. Like, why would you let them just so casually? Like, and look, we watch Paws. We understand you can't help it. We understand there's like, you know, only so much we can do when we bring animals into our homes. And also, why the kitchen counter? You know, like, I understand you're probably thinking, well, if you let your dog outside, why do you let him on the couch? I understand. We all make concessions. But on the kitchen counter where there's going to be food, it's going to be in my mouth. You know, I also don't put anything in my mouth until we've showered, if you know what I mean. Okay? Because I know all of you people don't think about the fact that not everything is as hygienic as you think it is before you put it in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You should wash before you put anything in your mouth. Okay? Kind of related, I saw a great leek recipe. I love leek. And I noticed, and the comments noticed, that they just chopped the leek and put it in the pan and didn't wash it. And we were like, hey, what about all the like dirt and manure in the leek? And they were like, oh, a little dirt never hurt anyone. Girl, I eat leek all the time. I have to scrub. Like, you have to clean all of the dirt out of the leek. There's so much mud in leek. And I'm like, you don't wash your leek? Look, everyone is different. But this story shook me. Now, a lot of people feel she is like, quote, really stretching it. But is she? Is she stretching it? Is she stretching it?
The Gordon Ramsay team violated their own policy. If you go to GordonRamsayRestaurants.com, you will see that it says any size dogs are allowed at the Battersea restaurant in London. But what you will also see is that it says outdoors only. This is their policy on their...
So why, if that's your policy, do you ignore it when she complains? And then that's why people say you're racist. Because why would you go against your own policy if she was in her right to complain? And she paid the bill, because that, honestly, that is a credit to her character. I know a lot of people are like, why'd you pay the bill? Because it's a credit to her character. It's a credit to her character. And once again, I say it to you, it's a credit to her character. And if she hadn't paid that bill, all the racists would have said, Black people, once again, not paying their bill, because that's a horrible racist stereotype that exists. Whether you like it or not, she is a Black woman who exists in a white supremacist world, and she has to contend every day with fighting against negative stereotypes created by white supremacy. So whether you like it or not, she has to pay her bills, and it is a reflection of her character, and she has to do it because of racist stereotypes. And then people, again, oh, you're stretching this, like that. No, do not let it go. This is bullshit.
Website. And in that video, you can clearly see that the dog was inside of the restaurant. At no time did management ask the patron to leave. At no time did I see management or any member of the team sanitize or clean that area where the wee-wee pad was. That it clear.
Even her saying wee-wee. Poo-poo and wee-wee and pee-pee should not be in my vocabulary while I'm eating.
Clearly states that dogs are only allowed outside. So they violated their own policy. I want to end this video by saying we did not ask for a discount. We did ask to have the service charge of 15% removed from our bill, to which they did after some back and forth.
Okay.
Nobody at any time apologized for our experience. I have not heard from Gordon Ramsay or his team. While I was there, nobody cleaned or sanitized the area. At no time did I see anybody address the dog owner, or did I see any repercussions for the events that took place. The Gordon Ramsay...
Okay, so then, look at this.
Having TMZ run a factually incorrect story on me was not on my 2026 bingo card.
Rude.
But here we are. Let's talk about it. There were so many falsehoods in this, it's not even quality journalism. 2 women walked in with their dogs in a bassinet baby stroller. The dog was licking the table. From the moment they walked in, it had not been 5 minutes before she put the wee-wee pad on the floor and started to encourage the dog to relieve himself.
Insane.
From my
Insane.
seat, where I said, hey, what's going on? This is unsanitary. She kept comparing her puppy to my newborn baby. She said repeatedly, your baby shits and pisses all the time whenever it wants. What's the difference between my puppy, my dog?
I am dead. I'm dead.
Kept comparing her puppy to my newborn baby. Per TMZ, we demanded to move tables. We removed, and that was it. That never happened. We never demanded to move tables. We demanded that service and the manager address the patron. The manager told me, and I quote,
That's what we can do. We cannot control animals.
That's awful.
And that's why we have the receipts. That's the other reason. Because how many people, like, thank goodness there's receipts, and allegedly multiple people recorded. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, hello, there is a literal difference between a baby going in their diaper, in which you can go change it, and a dog shitting right in fucking front of you. Come on now.
Want us to pay the full bill? We're not. You're gonna.
Oh, hold on, ma'am. I need to see that full bill.
That's what we can do. We cannot control animals.
That's awful. So you want us to pay the full bill?
$72 remaining. Okay, so they took off the service fee, which I think looks like a $10.
We're not. You're going to remove the service charge. We cannot control the animals, ma'am. And then he gave me a bill, the full bill, with the 15% service charge added on. To which I said,
What
I am not
service?
paying the service
Exactly.
charge.
What
Manager
service?
did not care. We paid the full bill. There was no discount given to us, nor did we ask for a discount. We paid the entire bill. Nobody at any time apologized for our experience. Nobody cleaned or sanitized the area in which the wee wee pad was in while we were there. When you go to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant, at minimum, you expect basic customer care, basic hygiene. Those are the two things you expect at minimum. My feeling is none of that was there that night. TMZ at no point has reached out to me. I've had multiple media outlets reach out to me to speak to me. TMZ has not reached out to me. They at no time.
TMZ is so drama. It's like a drama. It's like they try to be serious journalism, but you're so drama.
Requested my side of the story. There's some magic eyewitness that was there and who saw everything, which none of that happened based on their account. TMZ, you keep calling me the woman. It's Giselle Cadet.
Okay, Giselle.
Gizzellecade. Get it right.
Love her. Honestly, fucking, I'm such a fan.
Yes, they did charge us. They charged us.
I said, why would you pay the bill?
The full 15% service charge. That's kind of like where I drew the line, where I was just like, okay, this is too much. Like, the service charge was a bit much, and at that point you're laughing at me. So he did, after fighting with him and going back and forth, remove the service charge, but we did end up paying for the bill at full 100%. Schmidt was there, management did nothing. I didn't even know who the manager was until the end when I was getting ready to leave. The entire time he was looking, I thought he was a normal employee just working there. Come to find out, this was the manager. This is unacceptable. It's not acceptable in London. It's not acceptable anywhere in the world. It's robbery. Gordon Ramsay is known for running his restaurants and his kitchens a certain way. And that was not there that night. If it can pee, it's not for me.
Okay, this type of stuff, these types of interactions shake me to my core. Gordon Ramsay has been in the media for decades. He is media trained. He is PR trained. He should know better. He also has given an image and a reputation of being the guy who cares about quality. The fact that this was the easiest fix, the fact that this could have been the greatest thing, the fact that this genuinely, Gordon Ramsay has always been like, his brand is mean. You're correct, Chad. I see you. Like, actually, it's not just Gordon, though. A little behind the curtain info. Kitchens are notoriously abusive. It's not just Gordon. It's not unique to Gordon. Fun fact, the food industry is ruthless. So so you know, he is not unique in that. Okay. And I will say that this incident was so easy to fix, and the facts that he couldn't do it made me think, obviously less of him generally, but I mean, just such another reassurance of social media is just like never what it seems, or media is never what it seems, or people aren't embodying their values. Because if he had an embodiment of this value, he would have been like, oh my God, thank you for bringing it to our awareness. We're not only going to comp the meal, we're also going to give you another visit to our restaurant in the US where you live or wherever you live. Thank you for visiting. I'm so sorry this happened. I will speak to my management. It was such an easy fucking fix. The easiest fix. And that's why I say the world is what it is. Like, the world cannot be this way unless we are this way. And I don't mean permanently. I don't mean like forever. I just mean right now for who we are. Like, how easy was this? And okay, hear me when I say this. You know what's crazy? To bring it back to what's been happening in our little community here on the internet, look how YouTubers have been responding to the criticisms, and look how well some of them have taken it and how unwell some of them have taken it. Same thing. Gordon, how are we doing better in our little bubbles than you are doing with all of your team, all of your PR, all of your time on television? Because ultimately, his ego was 100% at play here. Very gross. And now the added layer that she is a Black woman and most likely an American, it sounds like a US citizen, it sounds like, in London, having this experience plays on a stereotype of Black American women in foreign countries. I watch a lot of Black travel girls. Like, they talk about being Black and traveling, and they get treated differently. Like some places are better for them, some places aren't. But the fact is, anti-Blackness is a global phenomenon. That's why I've been educating myself on this. And that's why I've been trying to tell you guys, like, I cannot explain to you how much anti-Blackness is a global. I mean, obviously the Black people in my audience know. But for the people who don't know, it is not just like, oh my gosh, Black people are always complaining. I'm telling you right now, they're having a global experience that it feels like no matter where they exist, even in a place that's primarily Black, it can feel like so much internalized anti-Blackness, colorism, some level of like colonization has like seeped into every part of the globe. And so I want people to be very compassionate to the fact that this is at play, even subconsciously. And I guarantee you that in this moment, in this situation, the wait staff, I'm assuming, internalized or not internalized, had racist thoughts and thought, here's another Black woman from the US complaining. Okay. Now, I will say for context, I assume she was there that night with her husband, who apparently is white. But even that did not save her. Because having a white husband will not save you when white supremacy wants to single you out. Okay? Okay. I'll mute it for, okay, this is her husband. Okay. So, again, like, congratulations on having a baby. I'm glad you guys are here. Oh, let's see his accent. Let's see if he's from the US.
New Super Mario Galaxy movie.
And he's a nerd.
In commemoration of the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. And those Italians coming over, it's me, Lord Bender, and we're making it.
Is this him? Is this her husband? Right? I think this is. So they're like a cute, nerdy couple, right? They're a cute, nerdy couple from the US traveling to London, thinking they're going to have a great experience. Okay. And see how it doesn't save you? Even being married, you know what I'm saying? So when we have these conversations, just know like people aren't just complaining. Like we're not just like, you know, making a stink out of nothing. This was such a solvable fix. Gordon Ramsay could have just made this the greatest PR he could have ever had. You know, listen to me when I say this. There are two communities you always want on your side. Gay people and Black people. Gay communities and Black communities. Because they are optimistic, successful, loving, loyal. They are the biggest cheerleaders you'll ever have. They are the backbone of civilization. Okay. They will literally always think the best of you. If you don't, they are the best people to have in your corner. And when you take the best people to have in your corner and you throw them under the bus, they're the real ones. And so Gordon had this chance. Gordon, listen, there is a stereotype of people not wanting Black communities in restaurants. This is some deep lore right here. And it's because under white supremacy, luxury and whiteness is silence. In Black communities and gay communities, joy is loud. This is why in my 20s, I spent as much time as I could in gay restaurants because joy was loud. This is why I love seeing, like if I'm at a place, I love when a group of Black or gay people show up because I'm like, oh, everything's about to be so joyful. Everything's about to be so, the way I was raised, loud. Because I was raised loud. My best friend who's white, that's our contrast as a friend dynamic, is I come from a loud Assyrian family where joy is loud, laughter is loud. You just like, you take over a restaurant, you take over a space because you're joining in. It's very Arab, it's very Assyrian. You join in the loudness. And then my bestie was always just like, and I was like, be loud, be loving. As long as you're not being rude, as long as you're not being hateful, as long as you're not being, but if you are loud, you know, it's like when you got that person in the crowd that just has like that beautiful laugh that makes you want to laugh. Okay. That attitude and that joy, that is what you want. But under white supremacy, under rich bubbles, you want silence and complicity. So Gordon in this moment, whether he knows it or not, subconsciously is sending the message to the people in his communities that he wants a version of elegance that is less joyful and more white supremacy, silence and being complicit, which is ironic since, you know, this kind of the contrast to like the Anthony Bourdains, but even Gordon has tried to go to different countries and like mix with the people. Gordon is really struggling here to not make himself the main character. you know?
Fucking delicious. This is our 100th restaurant. I still feel like it's our first. Advice to any hopeful looking to open their first: cook locally and keep it seasonal. Stop worrying about the sort of constant change of a menu. Just get consistent with what you're doing. Stay within that vicinity. Do that, you become the local hotspot, then that reputation grows. Other parts of London.
Okay, so like there's like this attitude, this idea, right? That's why I like home. That's okay, listen. Maybe somebody will say, oh, Brittany, that's just because you don't have money or something. But I will never pass up a mom and pop restaurant for a fancy restaurant if I love the people and I love the food they're making. And I will never believe, you'll never convince me a $1,200 dinner is better than a taco cart made by somebody who knows how to make fucking tacos. Like, I will just never be convinced. Like, I watch these Michelin star videos all the time, and a lot of the Michelin star restaurants can be mom and pop shops, for the record. But a lot of the fancier ones that are like $1,500 for this, I'm sure the food is delicious. And I'm sure it's an experience. But also, like, relax, okay? You're doing too much. You ever get that feeling like you're doing too much? I like something to feel homey and warm and real. And I also grew up that way, which, by the way, goes back to this idea of your lifestyle, this community lifestyle. It is about that feeling. It's about the feeling of not feeling judged coming to the party, you know, not wearing the best clothes, or coming to the party not knowing how to eat the best foods, or coming to the party like, I want you to feel like you are welcome and we will teach you. And that feeling you cannot buy with money. It's a community feeling. And Gordon Ramsay has proved he is not a community person. He's an elitist. And honestly, girl, I am never going to eat at one of his restaurants either. This, you know, not that I ever had a plan to, but if I was open to it, now, I'm over it. I'm over it. You know, if I ever, you know what I mean? I'm good. So shout out to Giselle. We love her. We support her. I'll send her TikTok your way. So in case you want to follow her story and any follow-ups or updates to the story, I will link her. Okay. We support her. I agree with her. Fuck Gordon Ramsay. Fuck poopy peeping at the restaurant. Absolutely no way. No way, Jose. Gross. Okay. Wrong. Unethical. Unnecessary. Shout out to dogs. Shout out to restaurants that allow outdoor areas for puppies. We love doggos. I love a dog park. I love a dog restaurant. I love a space for animals, non-human animals. I just think there's a space and a time. There's a space for that to happen. Okay? Absolutely, absolutely insane, really. Is that not crazy, right? You know? Chat said, I'm so sad you're describing something I've never experienced with my family. That also makes me sad. I'm sorry. I really am. Like, I'm really sorry. Because I really think, like, yeah, like, what a privilege. What a privilege to have something that evokes, like, so much feeling. Like, and that's why I said earlier, like, we've been saving up and getting ready to buy outdoor furniture because it's a space to sit and make that feeling. You know, you're making that feeling. That's why I do love a barbecue. That's why I do love an outdoor space, because you're creating that feeling, you know? And it is such a privilege. Or even the other day, my sister sent me a video of her making rizo maraca, which is like one of our Assyrian dishes. And she was like, oh my God, like, this hit so hard. It was like a memory rush almost. And I said, yeah, like, that's what I'm making this weekend. I'm going to make me some vegan or plant-based rizo maraca again, because I've been experimenting, recreating Assyrian meals, plant-based. And you're eating food that takes you back. It's a memory. It's a feeling. It's a joy. Like, it's being in the most present of your life. It's like, you know, Sundays at my parents' house where all the siblings show up and everybody's sitting around and you're eating snacks and you're laughing, you're playing music and you're just sitting around together, you know? And that feeling of, you know, I know people are really struggling right now, and I know everyone says they're addicted to their phones. I will say I'm very lucky that I'm in a relationship with somebody and in community with people who, yes, we love our phones, but we will never pick our phones over our people. When my sister visited, when my bestie visited, like, we we always prefer each other over the phone. It's not to say that we didn't have alone time. It's not to say that I was like, okay, I need 10 minutes to scroll. It's not to say I didn't need my, time to do my own thing. It's to say that I will never trade watching a TikTok over spending time with the people that I love, who I only have a limited time on earth to be with. And that is a genuine care and love for the people in my life. And I know not everybody had that. And I know not everybody gets that. And I know that that alone is a privilege. And I never want to discount it. And I also think you can make that with your friends and family. And I think it's, it's a process, Let me share a comment that I got recently that made me so emotional. Like, this made me so emotional. They said, as a 20-something, currently living in Seattle, trying to figure myself out, thinking of you living here in your 20s, doing the same thing makes me smile. Thank you for sharing your wonderful wisdom with all of us. I am so grateful to grow old and to realize, like, that decision I made all of those years ago to move to a city I'd never lived in, to recreate myself and be a person and find myself, was so pivotal and so, like, life-changing. And now somebody is doing that now, and there's, like, that is so beautiful. I told them, enjoy it, girl. You're really living your future story times. Like, that's what that is. You are literally living, like, your story times. Like, you're the stories that I remember my mom or my dad or my aunties or uncles, we would be sitting around, like, listening to their stories, like, so excited to hear about that's what, you know what I mean? And that's what we're really doing. And that's why I think being the adults in the room is so important, because young people are listening to us. People who are about to do things that we did all those years ago, they're listening to us, they're watching us. And it's so important that we grow further away from those times. It is okay to be the adults in the room and to say, I'm no longer that 20-something. And I learned from those moments. And now as I'm heading into my 40s, eventually here in a couple years, it's like, yeah, like, this is that life-changing, deviation, that time where you really aren't, you, like, pull off. And that's why I love getting older too, because again, you're a kid. Okay. And then you're like a teen, and then you've got your 20s. And then there's like a real cutoff. There's like a real distinct cutoff where all of this feels so connected. Because, when you're a kid, you still remember, when you're a teen, you remember being 12. And when you're in your 20s, you remember being 15. But now that I'm in, like, my 30s, when I talk about my 20s or my teens or my childhood, it's like a distant memory every year that passes. It really is, like, and now that I'm heading into my 40s, it's like such a distant, it's like a distant and more distant memory. And I'm so grateful for that, because, there are people truly, guys, who, like, it's not like that for them, where, they're existing in a world where their 40s, their 50s, they're still talking about high school. They're still talking about their memories and, like, looking at their high school, books, and it feels the same. I knew a guy once who, he was really going through it, honestly. They all are, aren't they? And he kept, at nearly 40, a picture of his first high school girlfriend, her picture from when they dated in high school, in his wallet. And I said, you need to burn that picture. Like, you need to get rid of that picture. Because, like, holding on to your childhood in that way is insane. It is an insane stagnation confession. You are confessing to stagnation. And then, of course, the growth of that person is so limited. Like, they can't grow. They're stagnant. They're suffering. They're going in loops. And it's like, you gotta let go of the photo. You gotta let go of the past. You can't keep reliving about how my high school was so good, and that was the time in my life when it was so girlies. And it's like, that's what it is. It wasn't even about the girl. It was about him. if he got rid of that photo, which is what he told me, it was like giving up on the dreams he had as a kid. And I said, listen, you got to talk to a therapist about this. But if I was you, I would see that as something to celebrate rather than something to mourn. Because the peak of your life is not fucking high school, bro. The peak of your life is every year you get to be on the planet and live the life that you want, you know? And that's the part that's hard, right? That's the part that's hard. It's not, it could have been, if he didn't have that girlfriend, he would have had a picture of like his like high school trophy in there instead. You know what I mean? It's him. The picture represents a relationship with him. And that's the part that's so hard. It's like, why are you clinging to the version of yourself that dated that girl? And a big part of it is because that was the last time he was successful with women, you know? And this is like that, you know, that's that red pill pipeline to like women just don't want good men anymore kind of person. And that's the thing that I want people to recognize. Like, you are the problem and you are the solution. That's how much power you have. You're the problem and the solution. And you have to really recognize who you are in the story for this reason. You know? Yeah, Chad said the last good memory or the best time in his life. Exactly. It's like, you know what I mean? Exactly. Chad said, I think to me, the scary part is the idea that so many people are stunted like this, but I can't believe people are working to make change. I think that is the part that people aren't understanding, because I agree with you 100%. Like, how many people are walking around? How many people are in our lives? Like, how many people? Okay, one of my brothers reached out to me recently and he's like, hey, bro, I'm like kind of concerned. Like, this is my gay brother. He's like, I'm kind of concerned. Like, do you think like everyone's like a fucking pedophile? Because why does it feel like everyone's a fucking pedophile? Like, what is going on? And I was like, no, not everyone's a fucking pedophile. It's worse than that. People don't care that they're pedophiles. And he was like, oh, fuck. And I was like, think about it. It's not that everyone is a pedophile or everyone's a rapist. It's that nobody cares that they're a pedophile or a rapist. And so to us, we start to feel like, is everyone a rapist? Worse, everyone's a rape apologist. Because even the people you think are going to be safe aren't. And that's what's scary about being a person. It's like, who can I even trust? If you're not going to fucking grow and take this girl's picture out of your wallet, or if you're not going to fucking hold your boys accountable. And like, yeah, Chad said that's somehow worse. It is somehow worse, isn't it? Because in some ways, it's almost like, oh, then, because if the numbers aren't that every person is, that means we can do something about it. But if every person was, then you feel like, oh, I can't do anything about this. I'm trapped. And if everybody is, then am I, right? So no, not everybody is. But if not everybody is, and we still can't do anything about it, that means we are super complicit in the way that the world is. I was talking about my parents yesterday. I deeply miss my parents. Like I really miss them, but my life has and continues to improve, not talking to them at the moment. And though my phone is always open to them calling me, reminder that the reason we are on a break is because, minus the fact that they voted for Trump, because that's a whole other topic, 2 of my brothers have interacted or engaged with teenagers, minors, and I cannot get them to have that conversation. 2 of my very grown brothers. They are grown. They are too damn old. You know what I'm saying? And I cannot get them to have this conversation. Even though they swore up and down my whole life, oh, if something happens, say something. Okay, my grandma married at 10. They won't have the conversation. My auntie's married at 16. They won't have the conversation with me. I'm like, we need to talk about these things as a family. There's something wrong with the way that we are acting, like, because you know why? They're afraid that if they have this conversation, it will take away all the good that is in my family, all the love we feel for these people. You know what I'm saying? Right? Chad said, do they think minors know how to give consent? Oh, worse. Are you ready for this? Worse. They think the minors are the dick teases, or the minors are the tempters, because that's how they've been guilted by their bubble, their religious bubble. Is the religious bubble has taught them, you cause men to sin. And I want my parents to deconstruct their religion so badly because it is what is keeping them from genuinely knowing better. Because their religion has taught them, like in the Bible and like in the doctrine, that you are responsible for the sins you tempt people to commit. So they will say, oh, if you wear leggings, if you seduce people, okay? Esmeralda, I remember I watched Esmeralda one time with my mom, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And you know Esmeralda, you know the story. You know how Count Frollo's crazy, okay? One of my brothers reminds me, he's very Count Frollo coded. And of course, and I remember watching it with my mom once, and she, are you ready? Pause. Was like, Count Frollo was honestly like he's a victim of Esmeralda. And I was like, girly. And my mom, by the way, is a victim of abuse. My mother was, you know, in so many ways, so ahead of her time. But my mother is a victim of the propaganda of her bubble. This is how women uphold patriarchy and defend abusers. Because my mother would have to deconstruct her own religion to even acknowledge what happened to her was beyond. Like, my mom acknowledges the pain she's experienced was bad, but I don't even think she allows herself to truly mourn what happened to her. Do you know what I'm saying? And so because of that, and a lot of women are in this, a lot of Christian women are in this position, a lot of Muslim women are in this position, a lot of women in patriarchal religions are in this position, that when they try to even call out the unfairness and everyone turns on them, it's like, what are you supposed to do with that? I mean, the Mother Mary, the most sacred woman in all of Catholicism, was a teenager, was 14. Chet said, did you watch Who the Fuck Did I Marry, Brittany? Yeah, I have a 9-hour stream on it. Yeah, I have a 9-hour stream on it. Though I'll just trigger warning you ahead of time. I'm autistic, so I kept asking, why did she fall for this? Like, why did she keep saying this? And people thought I was like blaming her. I'm autistically asking, like, when we say, oh, my Christian religion, yes, but why the Christian religion? What part of the Christian religion? I know exactly when I've like deconstructed my mom's past, I know exactly what happened, how old she was, when it happened, what she was thinking, why she continued it. I know exactly why she continues to. And then what's worse, okay, because I really, Tisa Ray, what was her name? We love her. Tisa Risa, we love her. Okay, we're like big fans. And also, I want to know how it happened. How old are you? When did this happen? When did you deconstruct this? Because this is what I would love my mother to do, because I really like respect my mother in so many ways. And also, because women under patriarchy, and this is, if you're new to my audience, this is the biggest part of it. My mom is the perfect example of a woman who, women in patriarchal Christian bubbles, especially Catholic bubbles, don't get social credit for just existing because they're not men, right? So the reason women in these bubbles are even harsher than the men in these bubbles, and so the men get the social credit of being chill, is because the women have to show and prove that they are for the cause. So they end up being harder on their kids, especially their daughters, harder on the people in the family, and easier on the sons, because the women get no social credit for simply existing. They have to prove by having baby after baby. They have to prove by being harder on crime. They have to prove because men just simply exist and they're like, and that's what I think I had to deconstruct as well, right? I had to deconstruct in myself this need to prove to patriarchy and to men that I was as good as them, only to realize, like, wait a second, why am I even doing this? I went through this stage myself. As a secularist, I went through this stage. I went through this stage while I was like away from the church. Because it doesn't just go away because you leave the religion. Now you need to deconstruct it through all of these other ways that women can. This is the capitalism of it all. This is the Dr. Cheyenne Bryant of it all, right? I said the same thing in my commentary. FD said it in his. Pay attention to who Cheyenne Bryant hangs around. The worst of the worst men with celebrity status, with wealth. So when she talks, of course she's going to look smart next to these men who can't even keep it together, and also give herself the social credit of dealing with a lot of men. But where are the feminists? Where are the women? Where's the intersectionality? Where's any of that, right? Where's the criticism of capitalism? Nowhere. So it's like, that's why the threat of the pick-me is actually really fascinating and devastating. And I do think women should be careful about bullying other women for being pick-me's, because I think if you're really a pick-me, you're truly suffering from patriarchy. Like, you are actually truly suffering. And that's devastating. I am devastated for women who have been a pick-me. Okay, we've all been there. But let me tell you this. It takes a lot of effort to deconstruct pick-meism. And I think women who misuse that term and misunderstand it and misunderstand how serious it is will bully other women for being, quote, pick-me's. But truly, these women are suffering. Like, these women are literally trapped in a cycle of patriarchy. So, you know, I can be patient with them, but even so, I'm trying new boundaries with the women in my life that are still doing this for different reasons. You know, for health reasons, obviously, we're putting down these boundaries. Like, again, my phone is available. If my mom wants to call me, I'll talk to her if she's willing to have the conversations. Because this is why these moms protect their sons, by the way. It's pick-me behavior, propagandized into their brain, brainwashed into their brain through patriarchy, right? My mother protects her sons because that's what a mother's job is. And who gets thrown to the side? Because women under patriarchy are less than the men. Because if all the men disappear, how will the women survive? Because inherently women who believe in patriarchy think we can't do anything without men. So of course they'll sacrifice the daughters for the sake of the sons, because again, without the sons, oh, what will happen to everybody? Even though we know the women are the backbone of the community, even though we know the women, the older sisters are literally doing so much of the community building for the boys. Do you know what I'm saying? So like this is why I say all of this is connected, and this is why I'm focused on people first, policy second, because Christians are really a good example of policy first, people second. They give you the doctrine, they give you the policy, and then they go enact it. And I'm saying, but what about the people? What about the reality of life? Like, what about the realness of the human condition? They go, doesn't matter. Ugh. It is exhausting. What are we going to do without all these men? Hi, my name is Jordan Peterson. I am a man. Guys, we're going to have to let go of the Jordan Peterson bit eventually. He's kind of gone. It's not funny anymore when he's not around, you know? Anyway. Brett, do you think we'll ever live in a post-colonial time? We won't. You and I won't. You know what I mean? Sure. Why not? Maybe in like a billion trillion years, but like we won't. So, speaking of which, are you ready for this? Now, this is going to coincide with what I want to talk about next, about overconsumption. But first, I want to give the example of what I'm about to talk about social media, using something not related to overconsumption, though it is sort of the overconsumption of the wrong kind of content. So hear me out. Look at this video.
I've ever been. The German degradation. This is the worst place I've ever been. The German degradation.
When you think of Berlin, you think of history.
This is decline porn. Content creators are racking up millions of views with this type of video, often portraying European cities as unsafe and unclean, overwhelmed by crime, drugs, and immigration. They claim to show reality raw and unfiltered. The gist? European cities are falling.
Areas, neighborhoods are being taken over by, in this case, Arab people.
This side of Brussels is very ugly, guys. Depressing for a Belgian, for a white guy like me.
This is Belgian content creator young Jamie, who jumped on the trend. He used to post videos of himself sneaking into amusement parks or spending the night at IKEA. Now he's exploring Belgium's dangerous neighborhoods.
I do it for engagement, it has good views. I want to be like a travel YouTuber, but don't always go to dangerous neighborhoods. I also want to go to like nice neighborhoods, like interesting neighborhoods. But I think it's better for me to go in the beginning to dangerous neighborhoods and make a name for myself.
And he might just succeed. Decline porn videos have plenty of the ingredients that experts say drive the attention economy on social media.
There is some evidence that content that is more emotional, more negatively charged, content that creates more outreach, creates more engagement, and therefore potentially more income for the influencers.
I'm showing you the Belgium side. The normal media doesn't want you to see, guys.
I film what I see. If my video is shocking, that's because the reality is also shocking, right? I don't fake anything.
There's no question that crime, violence, and open drug use are a reality in Europe, and sometimes concentrated in certain urban areas. Anybody who's been to Frankfurt Central Station can attest to that. But
okay, wait, pause. So we're very open borders, okay? That's our philosophical perspective as a family. Okay, me and my partner, family. Okay, we're very like open borders. Paperwork shouldn't stop families from being together. But the joke is, the reason people are so anti-borders is because you're afraid all the bad people will suddenly immigrate to becoming your neighbor. as if every type of neighborhood isn't found universally. Generally speaking, most of the world is literally the same. You are not actually living that unique of a life. You do not have a unique experience. Like this myth, the US people especially believe that, oh, people are desperate to move there. People are desperate to be there. You know, there are 8 billion people on the planet and you only have 350 million. You don't even have a billion people. You don't even have one of the billion. Do you know what I'm saying? For the US, okay? It's like you guys, open borders is this practice of believing that like paperwork shouldn't keep families separate, that people don't own land inherently, that the earth is ours to share, and also that there are bad people everywhere. Relax, especially in a world where the people who are supposed to be good are actually bad. So this whole like, oh my God, look what's happening. This is everywhere. Okay, maybe less or more in some places, but you know what I'm saying? People do this in America too. They go, or to the US, they go to LA and they go to places and they're like, oh my God, look at LA, look what's happening. So go help them. Go volunteer, do something. Don't sit there and act, don't film people for the sake of going viral. Do something. That's what I'm saying. This like faux I care about people thing is such a bullshit, and it works so good on social media. It's disgusting. Including people that try to save celebrity addicts on the street. Disgusting. Okay. Rise again with the super chat. Thank you so much. Says, I know a guy who watches this content, a lot of RIP New York shit, but he literally lives here in NYC. Like, bro, every day you can see we're fine. Exactly. So, you know, there's a combination of reality checking and acknowledging and accepting and saying things can be worse. They couldn't be better. But the truth is like, it's sensational content. It's sensationalized. That's why I'm very anti-sensationalized content. Because it's like deeply unethical, because it's an objectification and it comes at the expense and exploitative of these communities. You know, even somebody the other day in my chat about the Met Gala said, all of this time to get ready and they still ended up looking homeless. Why did you have to throw unhoused people under the bus to insult the Kardashians? And I said that to them. I was like, you don't have to throw unhoused people. Like, why are you comparing unhoused people in the state that they have to exist in to people who have millions and millions of dollars? You don't need to do this with your language.
They would also know that just a short walk down the street, the picture looks very different.
You could find evidence for every reality that you want to find evidence for, right? They are really framing some very particular areas of some urban cities, and they are creating a unified, simple narratives about very different urban realities.
While decline porn comes across as an objective documentation of reality, some creators are rather vocal about their opinion who's responsible for it. As you might guess, immigration plays a major role, with content creators, willingly or not, often repeating right-wing talking points.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore.
We're in a different country. Is this even Europe where we're in? Yeah, I'm right-wing and I come out as that. I think Western cities are kind of declining under mass migration, and I have to say, like, I think really it's becoming worse and worse.
An extensive 2024 study found there's no empirical evidence that higher immigration leads to more crime, despite the persistent belief that the two are related. While it's true for many European countries that immigrants are overrepresented in prisons, for example, this is not due to them being foreign-born, but rather because of systemic factors, such as limited resources, discrimination, and access to labor markets. The study's authors suggest that more restrictive policies on immigration could even backfire by pushing immigrants into irregular situations and thus increasing the likelihood of crimes.
What the hell is Europe becoming? This whole place here is just like a drug den, basically.
They are creating a simple narrative about the decline of Western civilization and using scapegoats such as often very racialized people, migrants, people of different ethnicities, different religions, to put the blame about some issues that are much more complex.
It's all foreign-owned. Completely taken over. You just can't find anyone that looks like you, talks like you, and has the same ideas as you. Correct. But you can get some great curries and great kebabs. So well, now that we've got the recipes, they can go back, right? That's right.
Not all decline porn creators are explicit about their political stance, but their success is certainly amplified by the fact that migration remains a highly divisive and debated topic in European politics. Creator Kirk Cass has even been accused of altering a scene with AI to make his thumbnail seem like London has been taken over by minorities. But it's difficult to tell if this is a one-off or common practice. When it comes to young Jamie, at least, He wants to stay true to what he sees.
If it's good, I'm gonna say it. If it's bad, I'm gonna say it.
To my surprise, this city actually has a friendly vibe. People here actually want to greet you. But statistically, this is one of the most dangerous cities here. And Belgium is actually one of the most dangerous in Europe.
This is the worst.
Okay, so now, okay, right? Disgusting. Deplorable to edit videos, use AI, make things look worse than they are. Like, you don't need to do that. They're already pretty bad. Okay? And also, it obviously has a racist connotation, feeling, everything about it is like, you know what I mean? Okay. I want to have this last conversation. Well, actually, no, I have 2 conversations left for you today. How are we doing on time? We'll maybe make it work. Okay. Overconsumption plays into sort of this issue with there's misinformation when it comes to political content, sensationalized content, and overconsumption content. They're kind of the same thing, only one's with items and one's with news and sensational stories. So there's 2 types of people who consume media online. You overconsume opinions or you overconsume objects, and both of them are used to escape reality. You watch both of them to escape your actual life. So we just watched a video of a man saying how Europe is being overtaken by immigrants and showing different things about Western cities being taken over. Okay, people watch that to kind of like feel good, which is an insane thing to think about, but it's kind of like suffering overconsumption. Okay, because it's not real. This is the other side of it. This is overconsumption when it comes to items, having things in your house. And there's a woman named Nikki who's very popular. Okay, Nikki is a very popular girly. She's a Christian girly, 7 million followers on TikTok. We've briefly talked about her, I think, in the past, but she is really fascinating because she gets a lot of flack of being a like super overconsumption. And then she argues with people about it. She says, I have a family of 5. We are not overconsumers. As a girly who was in a family of 12, you overconsume. And I don't see how this isn't just playing straight into your brand. And yet, I want you to check all the branding and the editing and the vibeness of it and see like if this is also a part of that overconsumption. Like, is the overconsumption not only what you see on camera, but the way that she responds and people consume and the way that I'm even doing it now? Like, is this also a part of what this content is meant to do, is spark conversation? Okay, watch this.
Expect my last video to get so much hate. What I thought was a good life decision turned me into a wasteful villain who doesn't care about the less fortunate. So I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself to my new followers. My name is Nikki. I really love to clean and organize. And last year, my father passed away. And that devastation put so much into perspective for me. I decided to start taking my health seriously, both mentally and physically. And I've lost 70 pounds so far. My hubby and kids are also on this journey with me. My son, he's also lost 70 pounds, and we decided to remove food from our pantry that would hinder our weight loss progress. That made a lot of people mad. And I understand, because there are people struggling that can't afford groceries. But my day one followers know I care deeply about the well-being of others, because I was once less fortunate myself. Just a few months ago, I made blessing bags for a domestic violence women's shelter. My love language is acts of service on the giving end. My besties know I'm always giving back.
Okay, her audio is really low here, but she said, I love acts of service and I want to give back. Oops.
Not that I have anything to prove, but I just want my newbies to get to know me a little better. Let's pack up the unopened items that I didn't throw away and get them to those who need them.
Okay, so there was unopened packages that she took. She threw away opened packages. Honestly, if you're losing weight, it's really calories in, calories out for most people, caveat. So you really could have just like frozen those things and had a cookie once a week and eventually gone through that food, or given it away to people and said, hey, I opened these cookies, but would you be willing to eat them? I don't want to throw them away. I think some people just like, they're much more not food waste aware, but that's the thing I want you to pay attention to. I have other things I want you to pay attention to, but look at this video now. Oh, fuck. Bro,
This is the only quiet moment I get all day, before anyone needs me, before the chaos starts, and I always love to make my coffee at home instead of rushing out for it, because this just makes it easier. And I'm living in my soft girl era. The Ninja Luxe Cafe does everything for me. I don't have to guess anything. I can make espresso, drip coffee, even cold brew, whatever mood I'm in that day. And it actually feels like a little moment for me, instead of just another thing I have to do. Because once the day starts, you already know. If you're a mom or you love one, the Ninja Luxe Cafe would be the perfect gift. Besties.
Okay, so there's something here that I want you to pay attention to. One, I do think she's reusing clips that she records, which means that she's not, she is reusing. I think she's reusing clips. I feel like I keep seeing the same shots over and over again, which from one perspective is good and also something to keep in mind. Okay. She makes a lot of content that's like showing off her life in a sense, because that's what people want to see. They want to see you organize. But yet, okay, look at this video. This is a Costco haul. Like, I also want you to process, like, I just posted a video about what I eat this week and I shared it for my members. Two things happened to me. One, I was more stressed this week than I normally am because I normally don't have to think about cooking and filming and getting the lighting right. And also, I put no effort into making it look nice, because making it look nice is actually an incredible full-time job, because you have to understand the way she did not get to 7 million subscribers by being lazy, right? Laziness doesn't exist, but you know what I'm saying? She really puts a lot of work into her content to make it look this way so you watch it. And I say this as somebody who wants to give credit where credit is due. This is not for the week. She has 4 million likes on this video, guys. This is not for the week. She is making actual content that people like. And the question is, does it send an unrealistic message to people about their living situation? So like when I shared my how to live on €50 a week video, I was trying to show you how to be realistic within a normal person's budget. But what she's showing you is what you want to aim for. But then the question is this what we should be telling people to aim for? Because it feels very overconsumption. And that's what people's main criticism of her is. But I want you to recognize that this is first and foremost a business, because this is really hard to do. And keep in mind, girlies, during this time when you and I would probably have music on or a video on or a podcast, or we'd have our partner come into the room, she can't have that. She has to have the ASMR vibe, natural sounds. Maybe she has it in her ear, but realistically, like, she can't just have a chill, clean day. She can't have an anime on in the background while she's relaxing. She's working. She's making content. So it has to be done correctly, which means like what normally would take someone an hour to clean is going to take her 3 just so she can get the shots. So she's not showing you her real life, because her real life wouldn't look like this. Because your real life, I don't need to pause and put the camera on. And like, even when I was making you guys that video, that's not exactly my real life, because I don't also sit at my table and show you all the things I made today. Like, I also don't do a show about what I ate, or like, I don't try to make it look nice on the plate. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when it's content, know that there is always a part of it that's performative. Like, and this is insane, right? I grew up in a family of 12 people. We had 2 fridges in the house. Our fridges never look like this, because it doesn't represent what real families look like or live like. This is a performance of what you could live like. And that's why it sells, because people want the life that doesn't look like theirs. It looks organized. It looks nice. It's very lovely. It's a full-time job to make your life look this nice. And another example of this, because these videos are pretty long, one of my family members, as an example, has a beautiful home, like a beautiful life. Like, their life is so magazine worthy that when you go over, they freak out about how you sit on their couch. And I'm like, girly, have you ever thought that you're stressed every day because of how you live? And, but he is so status obsessed. He's like he is so obsessed with people thinking he lives in a nice place in a very adjacent to whiteness neighborhood. That he doesn't even want, he's like anything out of place. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to live like this. So we have a rule in our house: clean, presentable, but lived in. Clean, presentable, but lived in. Okay? Clean, presentable, but lived in. I don't want my house to look like it's an IKEA show house. Even though that's beautiful and I love it, that's not real life. Okay, we actually have one of these bowls and it's honestly a lifesaver. You know, the one that like you spin around? It's actually amazing. Yeah, this. We have one that's similar. It's honestly amazing. But see, okay, this is the part where these people lose me. If you clean your vegetables and put them back in the fridge, if you do not dry everything and make sure everything is like perfect, it will mold. So like, I'm very confused about like washing everything and then putting it in. I'm very texture sensitive. I'm autistic, okay? If I wash things and they get even slightly soft, it's over. So all these people that are putting a bunch of berries, a bunch of lettuce, a bunch of stuff in the fridge, it's confusing me. Because if you watch Michelin star cooks, they will tell you, be very careful when you wash the ingredients. It will wilt the salad. It will wilt things. You have to be very careful. You know what I mean? So like, I'm very confused, I think, about how people, because then I have to say, okay, so you're throwing away a lot of this food, right? And then it makes me, that's why people ask about the waste, okay? Chess says, what does it do, the spinny bowl? The spinny bowl cleans. It's a cleaner. It's not a mixer, it's a cleaner. So you clean your dish, you clean your vegetables, it's a strainer, but then when you put it in the spinny thing, it spins out the water faster. Like, you don't want to make a salad and have it dripping in water. You want to have your salad, you want to dry it or clean it. Otherwise, it mixes with the dressing, it waters everything down. To have a good quality salad, you want to wash it, and then you want to spin it multiple times until all the extra liquid is gone, and then you want to throw it into your mixing bowl, and then you want to put it into your serving bowl. Like this, like what are we doing? What do we need this for? And that's the other part of the overconsumption criticism. Like, girl, what do you need to take food out of plastic for to put it more into plastic? You know? This one is the weirdest one to me. This cannot be functional. Because every time you take a tray off, like this cannot be functional. Look at this. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, first of all, plastic is gross. I feel like unless it's glass, plastic is kind of gross. Okay? Second of all, there's no way this is functional. Because like then you take off one area, then you have to take out all three at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no way this could make my day easier. Like this is just for TikTok. See, why would you take it out of the orange juice container and then put it into another container, which by the way isn't properly sealed and will take in fridge taste? This lid, I have one of these. This lid does not protect from fridge taste. If you leave a container in your fridge open, the liquid will suck up the fridge taste. It doesn't make sense. This is just for online. This is just for content. Okay, now most food content creators will tell you they do not eat 90% of the food they make. They give it away to friends and family. They cannot eat the amount of food they produce for content. This is why I say, you have to understand the differences between content that's made to be consumed and content that's made to reflect a real life. The content I made for you on my my members video, that is as real to my life as I can get, and even then, okay? I'm not about to overspend my money. I am not about to get cuter plates. I'm not about to do anything that makes it more digestible as content because But like, this is a job. And the problem with this job is the overconsumption. Example, I watch MasterChef, and something that pisses me off about US MasterChef is how much food they throw away. After all of the competitions, they go, amazing dish, absolutely loved it. Then they take the plate and they put it in a trash can. Habibi, give it back to them to eat. Like if it's edible food, if they didn't completely fuck it up, like so much food goes to waste. So much unnecessary food goes to waste. It pisses me off. See, why would you take it out of the thing to put in the thing? What, just because it looks better? 4 million likes on this video, y'all. 4 million likes. Okay, here's this one. And by the way, she is just very successful at this, but she is not the only one. Look at this. This is my favorite bullshit thing I see on every fucking TikTok. It's foot wrappers for your foot. Everything we own ends up in a landfill. Everything we own ends up in a landfill. So they come into the door and they put their foot in this thing and a bag wraps around it. It's a beautiful house. It's a beautiful house, but girly. Okay, and then this is like a defected, I think it disinfects something, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on now. Okay, a clothes warmer, it like keeps your clothes warm. Like, come on now. What is this? Look at this. Look at this. She's so cute. This is nothing against her. It's against the, you know, it's not her. It's the industry. Look at this little thing on the floor. She's got this little thing on the floor. What is that? Is that like a little vibrator? What is that for? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I'm not even hating on her. I'm just like, what is the point of this? You know that irony that people get really mad about where like influencers get sent like $250,000 worth of makeup, but poor people will never get access to it? It's like the richer you get, the more shit you get for free. This is why I don't like the way this stuff is. You know what I mean? Chat said, is it for lymphedema? Is it? That's cool. We love support for health issues. I don't know what it's for. But like, I don't know. I've only seen it in workout videos, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But either way, it's interesting. And it's another piece of plastic. And like, again, it's not her. It's not her. There's nothing wrong with her. Well, I don't know that because she is a Jesus person. But it is us. Because why are 4 million of you liking this? Why is there even an industry for this? And then I guarantee you, like, she's getting sent so many things for free. And that's what it is. That's the thing that I think is so interesting. It's really the sensationalism of it all. And this is also why I think we seek, this is the opposite of the Miyazaki dream. This is like the absolute opposite. This is like overconsumption final boss compared to minimalist final boss. Do you know what I mean? This is actually, but I need you to understand how hard it is to film all these things. She is amazing at her job. Like, as a content creator, she's amazing. Because, like, this is such a pain in the ass to film. She makes it look so easy. Oh my God, did you see all those cups? Oh my God. You see all those? Look, look, look. Jeez! Did you see that? What is that, a Target? Is that a Target? What do you work at Target? What do you need all those cups for? That's what I'm saying. What? Whoa! Okay, I swear it's the same clip every time. I think she's reusing this content, which is probably smart. Maybe not. Look at this. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Whoa. Look at this. She's in her little beauty mask. She's so funny. Look at this. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? We do not need this in our life. A little drinking cup that also lets us eat out of it. Come on, people. Do you know what I'm saying? Listen. I know I moved to the part of Europe that's like tank tops and cigarettes and, cuss words, but also, that's kind of like so Assyrian of us to move to a place where we sit outside all day, we smoke, and we eat like sunflower seeds, and we play cards. Like, take me, you know what I'm saying? Give me a backyard where we are playing cards together, and don't talk to me about none of this because I'm tired. Okay, put your hair up, call it a day, walk around barefoot if you must. Like, this stresses me out. But there are people who are like, this is aspirational. This is what I want. This is how I want to live my life. Like, is this how you want to live your life? Like, I cannot help but see this as just like, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Check this out. I'm going to go back to her in a second. This is another woman who makes similar content. And then I'm going to show you the absolute opposite but similar side of this. Okay, oops. Oh my God. See, like, what is this? What do you need to take off your shoes and put in a little sanitizer for? Sterilizer for your glasses? Come on, girl. Sterilizer. Plastic, plastic, so much plastic. All this plastic. Food wash? Food wash? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you see what I mean? Oopsies. Uh-oh. She said I'm a single mom of 1 kid. So you and your daughter are gonna eat all that food? Bro, that is so much food.
Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. How was your day? Good. I know what this is.
Okay. Now, I want to show you Bradley on a budget. Because Bradley on a budget is the same thing in reverse. Where Bradley is disgusting, and I hate the sensationalizing of his content. He's like the super uber frugal guy. He's the guy who uses the same piece of floss over and over again because he needs to save money. He's disgusting. But he's the same thing on the other side. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not different. He is an overconsumer in the other way. He's like an extreme minimalist, but it's all sensational. It's ridiculous. It's not healthy. It's not balanced.
Currently looks like this, and I got a text from my apartment currently looks like this, and I got a text from my landlord saying that tomorrow is apartment inspection. So clean and defrugal my apartment with me to keep my landlord happy and my rent cheap. Don't ask why I have a car seat. If you know, you know. These apartment inspections usually happen once a year, and my landlord will just randomly text the day before. Yes, I'm hiding my yellow pillow. It's clean. Shut up. Inspections are just to make sure the fire alarm's working and that we're not breaking any rules. I need to defrugal my college dorm mattress and make it look like a cozy bed. I have lived in this apartment for 6 years now. Despite the conspiracy theory that people think this is a filming studio, God forbid a guy wants to live as cheap as possible, geez. And my rent is $850 a month, so we gotta clean this bad boy up. I know my laundry bag has seen better days, but I just tuck it away in the corner so he won't see it. And for people who say this is rage bait, shut up! It's called working my butt off to make a better life for myself, and I'm burnt out. Oh my god, I found my wig. It looks like a raccoon. We'll just put that back in the closet. This is my batch of paper towels because I don't like to throw them out after one use. Makes sense to me, but not most people, so I usually just cover it up when someone comes over. Onto the bathroom, and viewer discretion is advised. As I was putting away my toilet paper pile, I found one of those bugs, which I found last time when I cleaned my apartment, so that can't be good. When a guy's coming over to crochet, or my landlord is coming to inspect the place, I always make sure to put out a roll of toilet paper. We also have to cover up the towel because even though I don't care about it's just a towel, it serves its purpose, but most people think I'm insane for having a towel like this. So there we go, covered up, easy peasy. We also have to do something about the bottles and cans. This is the only place I have to store them. But collecting bottles and cans is just another way I make money every month. The only logical thing I could come up with is putting them away in my car for now. You gotta do what you gotta do, I don't know. And I just want to say, I know a lot of people are probably gonna claim that this is rage bait, which my content is not rage bait, it's just how I live my life. And the way my brain processes things just makes sense to me. I know it doesn't make sense to most people, but I think it's important as a creator to keep it real when most of social media is so fake, and just highlight that life isn't always perfect. I don't always have it together. My apartment often looks like this because I'm juggling so much in my life. I was really struggling in the winter, so now that it's nicer out and I'm feeling better, I really want to keep up with my apartment, cleaning a little bit every day so it does not get this bad again. After many hours, finally my apartment looks so much better. It's going to be ready for the inspection tomorrow, and I definitely feel so much better having a nice clean apartment. Don't be too hard on yourself if you're struggling right now and trying to keep up with life. Social media makes you feel like everyone's life is picture perfect and everyone has everything squeaky clean, but that's not the reality for most.
Okay, so I am in the middle where I live off my income and I don't use a credit card, and we don't have a lot of money left over every month, so we don't buy a lot of new things. And yet we have new sponges, we get new paper towel, we have nice towels, we have good bedding. I understand he brags about having like $200,000 in savings. Habibi, not worth the savings, because my mental health would take such a fucking toll if my house was this dirty. My mental health would absolutely fucking decline so fucking fast if this was what I lived in. Okay, right? He has 1 million followers. The boy has money, okay? Now, apparently, like, he has some trauma stuff that makes it so he does live this way, but let's go through his most popular videos. 25 million. I'm proud of where I'm from. Ooh, I'm gonna mute that. Everyone hating on my frugal lifestyle, but I'm 32 with almost 500,000 saved. Okay? Knowing people exist that never have to worry about money. Okay, what I got for free on my birthday.
You could get a lot of free stuff on your birthday, so spend my birthday with me as someone who's frugal to see all the things I got. Took a quick shower because I have a very frugal day ahead of me. Benny's was my first stop of the day. You could get a free Grand Slam on your birthday. I'm only doing birthday freebies where
I mean, honestly, good hack though.
you do not have to spend any money to get it. This is literally my Olympics. Like, a whole day of getting free stuff is so fun for me. This is the
Okay, wait, Chessa, do you think it has anything to do with the whole guys don't see clutter thing? Well, do you mean like Bradley, or do you mean like my mental health would collapse overnight? Both. I will just say this. I think he's disgusting. I think that's one thing. I think there are just really gross people on the planet that are perfectly fine to be gross. I'll give you a funny example. One time I lived with a person, okay, who was a grown-up, like a grown-up. And they let me stay in their house temporarily while I was going through a stage, okay? And they had a rule. They had a sign. They owned their house. They made good money, guys. Like, this was person with good money, okay? They had a sign above their toilet that said, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. And I said to them, what do you mean? And they go, if you just pee, leave it in there. And I said, but it smells. It's gross. Like, it's a gross smell. It's pee smell. Why would you want pee smell in your bathroom? And they're like, to save money. And I was like, you have money. They had a nice house in a nice neighborhood. And they were like, that's just the rule. So please follow the rule. And I was like, why? Now, obviously, it had something to do with their childhood. They became like independent at 15. They have been on their own their whole life. They've gotten themselves through education, school, a house by themselves. They were truly felt like they could not change this way of living, or it would maybe crumble the life that they lived. Fine. Bradley, the same thing. There's like, it always comes back to our childhoods, right? Why do I live the way I live? Because of my childhood. My mother always got the compliment of like, oh my God, your house doesn't even look like 10 kids live here. But my mother was also very like, she let us like live in that house. My mom's house was always clean, but it was also very lived in. And that's what I aim for. Okay. That's what I want. I want a house that's clean, but looks very lived in. I don't want it to be this perfect, weird TikTok house. And I also don't want to be Bradley on a fucking budget. And we're also not going to wait to flush our pee down. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So like adulthood really is like your childhood. So you need to deconstruct your own childhood. Okay. We're not dismantling deconstruction. Needs to take it apart and learn about it in detail, right? To have a better relationship with self. Okay. That's what you're aiming for here. Okay. So back to this.
best way to celebrate my birthday. Breakfast was so good, and even better because it was.
Sorry. Wait. You know what this also relates to is like, we're staying in the middle. So I want you to know, I'm very happy with the way things are going for us, and I want that to be an inspiration for you. I want you to know that it is hard, but it also is better than the extremes. So like Dave Ramsey says, if you have any sort of debt, you can't see the inside of a restaurant. Like, nobody has time for that, Dave. Sit down. Okay. Nobody has time for that. But that means though, you don't have to go to a restaurant even once a month, but you can go every 3 months or so. Not a big deal. Same thing with clothes. Like, you can afford new clothes. You don't have to walk around with holes in your clothes. Like, if there's a hole in our clothes, it gets turned into washcloths. Okay. I am not about to live like Bradley on a budget. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to live with reusing floss. Get me new floss. Okay. I go through floss pretty frequently because I'm flossing, and my partner gets me my favorite floss. He knows what I like. And he's not going to be like, oh, like, we could save this money to spend towards our savings for, get me new floss. Do not piss me off. Okay. Do not piss me off. Your toothbrush needs to be changed. Change your fucking toothbrush. You know what I mean? Bradley's toothbrush, by the way, is disgusting. Change your toothbrush. I don't even want to see your toothbrush trying to do the splits. If your toothbrush is doing the splits even slightly, don't even talk to me. Don't even move your breath in my direction. Thank you.
Free. Of course, I'm taking the napkin with me. That is free toilet paper. If you know, you know. Even though the food was free, I still made sure to tip the waitress. I tipped her $3, which is 43%. So shut up. Next, I went to the mall, which is a great place to go on your birthday. And I met some budget baddies. That was so nice. You guys are the best birthday gift I could ever ask for. First, went to California Pizza Kitchen because you could get a free dessert on your birthday. And then I went to PF Chang's because you could get a free appetizer on your birthday. The host was so sweet. Thanks for following me. Not only did I get free food, I got free trash bags because you guys know I use paper bags as trash bags. What a great day this has been so far.
Look, I do little hacks like this too. Like, I definitely put water in my shampoo bottles. We save bags. We do little things like this too, but we're not like this, like getting free meals on your birthday, fun fact. Like, that's a fun like hack. I like that. Okay. But ew, did I like this video? What the fuck? I keep liking the videos by clicking on them. But the point is that I don't go to the extreme. If we need new trash bags, we buy new trash bags. Okay. Okay. And usually we don't save our bottles. We put them in bags and we let the unhoused or struggling Croatian old people come get them because they need the bottles to pay for their stuff. Okay. So like, again, it's like the balance. I'm not going to do this. Are there some hacks he does that I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Okay. But like, okay.
These fried dumplings and this cheesecake, these two things cost $27. Is that not absolutely insane? But it's my birthday, so I got it for free and I did not have to spend any money to get it. I'll save some for later because I have to pace myself. I started going into random stores just asking if I could get anything for my birthday. I got a few notes and then I went to Crumble. I saw they don't give you a free cookie on your birthday anymore unless you're a certain member status. The girl was so nice and I still got a cookie. I was about to DM Sawyer and tell him to pull up. I love that this is the only time I'm ever a customer going to these stores is to get something free on my birthday. It's pretty iconic. Next, I went to the movie theater because you could get a large popcorn for free. Didn't even go see a movie. Literally went in to get popcorn and then I left. To get your birthday freebies, you just have to make sure that you sign up for the rewards program.
Wait. No, how did he do that? In every movie theater I've been to in the last 10 years, you can't even get to the popcorn area unless you buy a ticket. Wait, how did he do that? Am I stupid? I feel like even the last time I went to the movie theater, you have to go through the ticket line before they even let you into the concession area. Oh, you know what though? Not in Croatia. In Croatia, the concession area is separate from the ticket area. But yeah, in Arizona, in California, I wonder if it's the way the theater is shaped. Yeah, the last time I went to the movies in Arizona, you can't get to the popcorn area until you buy a ticket. So yeah, it must be different because in Croatia, he could do that here. The popcorn line is open for you. Yeah, okay. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, I believe him. It's possible.
I'm ahead of time. After securing the popcorn, I headed over to my parents' house because they love movie theater popcorn. Thought I'd say hi to them on my birthday and give them some of my treats. Then I went to Smashburger. You could get a free milkshake on your birthday. Doesn't have to cost you anything.
Okay, honestly, this is probably the best hack Bradley has ever showed us. Genuinely, I do think you should get this free shit on your birthday. Fuck capitalism. Go get that free shit, girls. Okay, everybody lock in. This is the best Bradley video I've ever actually seen because honestly, good hack.
I love milkshakes so much.
As an example, Disneyland used to let you in on free for your birthday, and I used to take all of my siblings on their birthdays. Disneyland used to have that. I don't know if they still have it, but you have to take a birth certificate. You show that it is their birthday, and you get in for free. That's why all my siblings, or my little siblings especially, I was like, you're going to Disneyland with Auntie Brittany. Or not Auntie Brittany, with Brittany. I'm so used to having my nieces and nephews. But I'm taking you to Disneyland. So I love free birthday stuff.
Though this was a nice treat and it tastes even better when it's free. And then I ended my day at Chili's. I think last year I was able to get a free dessert without having to spend any money. Maybe I'm wrong, but this year there was a $5 minimum. But my sister came with me and she bought food, so that worked out. Yes, my birthday dinner was chips and salsa, but it was free, so I don't care. Of course, the napkins are coming home with me because I'm never going to buy toilet paper ever. I got this peanut butter pie thing to share with my sister, and it was free for my birthday, which is awesome. Everything I got today came to $72.35, which is pretty insane.
Wait, that's a lot though. Wait, repeat?
For my birthday, which is awesome. Everything I got today came to $72.35, which is pretty insane. I did not spend $1 because I got it all for free on my birthday.
Oh, so so it didn't cost him $72. It would be $72. That is a hack. That is a hack. Okay, Bradley, this is the only video that I approve of. Now that's a hack. Damn. Okay.
I'm frugal and hate to spend money, but not when it's for kids in need for Christmas. So come along with.
He did that. I'm just having fun. Oh, I'm gonna get copyrighted.
I'm frugal, and once a year, I like to upgrade some things in my apartment.
Look at that toothbrush, girl. Look at that towel. Come on now.
And once a year, I like to upgrade some things in my apartment, even though I hate to throw things out. So this was everything I upgraded in my apartment to get the new year started off right. Breaks my heart to say this, but I will be parting ways with my sponge. I think I used it for the majority of last year, and even though it still has a little scrubby left on it, I do think it's time to move on and finally use the other half of my sponge. I like to cut my sponges in half because you get double the lifespan out of them. Had to do one final set of dishes before moving on. Maybe I could just save it to use when I clean the bathroom or something. I don't know. Next were my pillows. A lot of people were concerned by them just because they're really yellow. It's honestly probably from sweating because I don't use the AC in the summertime. Didn't know you could wash pillows, so I was gonna wash them, and then I realized literally have been in a casing this whole entire time. I feel so stupid. Would have been washing them all this time if I knew that. Honestly, they're still kind of yellow, but at least they're clean. Okay, I need your help with this one. Is it time to move on from the little drip painting? I know the paintings become a staple in my apartment, but I found this very nice mirror when I was dumpster diving a few months ago. Instead of selling it, I decided to keep it, but I'm just really struggling to part ways with my painting. I put that painting up the first day I moved into this apartment 6 years ago. Maybe I need to learn to embrace change, so if you like the mirror, let me know and maybe I'll keep it up. I also decided it's time to part ways with my toothbrush. Personally, I still feel like I have life out of it because most of the bristles are okay. I don't know, that's just how my brain works, but when I go to the dentist twice a year, I do ask for an additional toothbrush. Maybe I'll just keep my other toothbrush and use it for cleaning. I don't know, I hate to throw stuff out. Packers tape on my phone screen has started to get really bad. It's starting to lift up. I decided to take it off and freshen it up with a new layer of tape. I'm so tired of people saying this is rage bait. When I cracked my phone screen when I was broke, I did research and someone said use Packers tape and it worked perfectly. I figure instead of buying a screen protector, if I have Packers tape, I'm just gonna use Packers tape. And it works, so shut up. I also realized I haven't thrown out my trash bag in this little trash can in the bathroom for like ever. It's gotten kind of gross, so I decided to move on from it. Also, my mom got this little baggie when she bought vegetables from the grocery store the other day. Really anything could be a trash bag if you believe in yourself. Now the bathroom has a fresh trash bag for the year. Those were some upgrades I made to freshen up the apartment and get the new year started right.
So obviously, I don't know if it's rage bait or clickbait, but he's popular. Over 1 million followers, 1 million like on this video. People really like it. And I think it's just the extremes. People like the extremes. And that's what I want you to be cautious of. This love for the extreme, this love for, oh my God, this is so different from my life. This is so outside of my life. This is, oh my God. That's the thing that I want you to contend with and ask yourself, do I want something so incredibly different than the life I've lived? Or I don't want the life that I live to be so, or do I want the life I live to be so different in a way that doesn't require me to go to these extremes? And that's why I always say, like, you know, philosophy is the answer, because none of this is philosophical or philosophically sound. All of this is desperate. All of this is not balanced. All of this is just, it's like the wrong why. You know what I mean? And I agree with you, Chad, that like, you know, being with this person or sleeping on their pillows, or you would feel like kind of, you know, this is the reflection. And we do this in our own life. We sit and we assess situations, and we're very much always trying to deconstruct our childhoods and say like, oh, I wonder why this stresses me out. Or I wonder why this is, I think one of the first things we did when we got married and stuff is we went bed shopping, like for bedding. And I picked out bedding I liked, and I wanted to be comfortable when I slept. And even recently, it's now that time of the year where I'm like, okay, I think I want new sheets. You know, we've been on the sheets for a while. I think we're done with these sheets. You know, we're not trying to overspend, but we're not trying to deny ourselves care either. So, you know, it's one of those balancing acts. Everything we try to do is balance. So I don't want to be Bradley on a budget. And I don't want to be Nikki either. I don't want to have to overconsume, and I don't want to have to underspend. But I think this is the trick, because when I watch Ramith's show, he does a finance show. When I see a woman who's got a net worth of 1.5 million, and she feels guilty over buying new $60 leggings, even though her leggings have a hole, I think to myself, see, like, she's not having the balance. I don't want to feel guilty that I've spent money. And I also don't want to give in to that capitalistic brainwashing, overconsumption bullshit I've been raised with, which is like, buy, 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 buy. It's about that balance, you know? And that's what I want to encourage you to do, is don't feel guilty. I will not feel guilty. If you see me with new clothes or new earrings or new something, I do not feel bad about it, and I shouldn't feel bad about it. And if you started to notice that, like, oh my God, Brittany's like in brand new insert name brand clothing here, and it's a new one every day. I mean, something bad might have happened. Do you know what I mean? Because again, I have an embodied value system, embodied values that tells us even if we had the money, it doesn't mean we have to buy new things every day. And this coincides with what I said yesterday about the Met Gala. Like, I want to play dress up too. And also somebody in chat said, but they don't want to fall into overconsumption. Trading is a beautiful thing. Giving away old clothes to other people, making sure you guys can trade items. I think that's so beautiful. Like, trading is good. Bartering is good. Like, being paid for your labor is good. Trying to like be gluttonous, trying to hoard, not good. Okay. So like, don't hoard. Like, one of the rules we have in this household is no hoarding. So if we have no use for this wire, we're not going to have a wire bag in the house. But if we want to keep within reason certain things in stock in case we need them, that's okay. But we're not going to hoard. So same thing. So, you know, weirdly enough, there's two types of hoarding happening. Like Bradley on a budget is almost like a hoarder, but minimalist. But he's kind of hoarding. He won't give away. He won't let go, right? And then Nikki kind of is a hoarder in the sense that she like doesn't identify as an overconsumption girly because everything gets used. But then why do you have so much excess? You know, so it's you know, when you think about, yeah, like Chad said, is Bradley hoarding his money? Well, I don't know what he's doing with it, but in a sense, but it's really this idea of not letting go. Guys, a lot of the hoarders that I've met over my life, they're living in piles of garbage, like literal garbage. It's not even useful. It's like diapers. And like, obviously there's mental health associated with this, but really it's a crisis of fear. A lot of the hoarders that I've met that arguably their homes are like beautiful, or you wouldn't really realize they're traditional hoarders, even though they are, is their sentimental like attachment to items. Like, oh, I can't get rid of this. My daughter wore it in the 7th grade and I remember taking a picture of her with it, of her in it. And it just brings back so many memories. And I'm like, it's time. It's time, you know? And I've helped a lot of people. There's a lot of really important people in my life who suffer in this way. And that's why I always have a deep compassion, even for Bradley, but also for Nikki. Because I do think if she is seriously thinking that any of this is just reasonable, she's either falling for the capitalistic, like, coping of, like, you know, over consuming, or they're suffering in the way that Bradley's obviously suffering. And what's interesting about Bradley, right, is that he has a family. I just couldn't imagine if this was my sibling, me not having the most intense intervention. And being like, I love you so much. I support you. Also, what is this? What actually is this, though? Because there's something happening here, you know? And that's the concern I have. So I just want you to remind yourselves, like, real life is so much more different than these heavily curated content, TikToks you see or whatever else. But even more than that, it's so philosophically obvious how out of balance we all are. And there's nothing wrong with staying in balance. So don't make yourself suffer unnecessarily. Go to that restaurant, enjoy your meal, girl, eat out. Honestly, I'm so tempted to just order food tonight just to prove it to myself that I also can stay fun. Haha. But also, don't order every night your favorite vegan burger, because you know that's crazy $15 a day, and that's so overdone. That's so overdone. You know what I mean? So stay within that balance, and don't trap yourself. Philosophy should liberate you, not trap you. Good philosophy should liberate you, not keep you in a new golden cage. I'm not about to golden cage myself into never enjoying food because, quote, we don't have our 6 months worth of savings. You know what I mean? All right. I think we should end it there. Ooh, almost exactly on that 3-hour mark. Let's go, girls. Let's call it a day. I'll be back Monday. I have a great video to show you for Monday members. I think it'll be great. I'm going to have a great week for you planned next week. Shout out to all the content creators that have been in my comments lately, that have been voices in this community lately. We love to see it. We appreciate it. I woke up really, really optimistic today and just like relieved at the amount of reaction and the amount of optimism and positivity, and also just like accountability. We love to see it. And thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And to all the new people who have found my content lately, happy to have you here, of course. And I will see you guys this Saturday, actually, on the Discord tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow on the Discord. I'm excited. And then I'll see you, of course, Monday for stream. All right. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and happy Mother's Day to all of those who are celebrating it. I will be with my mother-in-law, and do Virginia.